2000 was the year that everything was supposed to go kaput because of the computer clock. Programming error didn't happen. 2000 is the year of the Space Odyssey. And 2000 is the number of Golden Truth tickets we need to sell today. Is that you? Mike Church here, live, asking the question of the day.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Well, I'll tell you. 2000 starts with 1. So who's going to go first?
And continuing stability.
Or 10.
The Republic will be reorganized into the
Or 400th.
Galactic Empire. For a safe and secure society.
No, you can't.
So I'm calling on Congress to pass these reforms, and I'm going to sign them into law. You called down the thunder, well, now you got it.
You tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Alrighty, our call-in line telephone number if you'd like to be on this most august of all programs, 844-527-8723, 844-5-CRUSADE. Email address, same as it ever has been. I am King Dude. I am King Dude at ProtonMail.com. Crusader Stadium, Mike Church Show chat room open at crusadechannel.com/chat for all of your commentary today. We are simulcasting live on the Ethics and Broadcasting Network. Sensus Fidelium's YouTube channel, the Restoring the Faith, welcoming all of you YouTube channel. 990 AM WGS show in New Orleans. And, of course, at Real King Dude on our YouTube channel, and then across all of our apps and platforms and websites at crusadechannel.com and mikechurch.com. So the magic number right now is, well, I just looked at it. Let's see here. 8. Let's refresh. Come on. You can do it. 8,279 in stock. So 21. Somebody just snapped up 25 tickets. So thank you, whoever that was. Can we get it down? Can we get to 2,000 tickets sold by the end of the broadcast today? So we took 100 out for giveaways and promotions and what have you. So we started at 9,900 in the inventory, actually. So that would mean 279, 379 by the end of broadcast day today. And maybe I'll have to extend it like Jerry Lewis and do a telethon. To get to the number, even better yet, let's get down to 7,500. And then on our way, because men out there that participate in contests like this, treat a contest like this like they treat Christmas, and they do all their shopping on Christmas Eve. So pretend today is Christmas Eve, and if you already have a Golden Truth ticket, it would really be fantastic. And there are 1,300 of you out there that already have a ticket. Imagine if all of you just added just one. Well, now we're talking we're in the 7,000s of tickets remaining. So that is the task for the day. So I will ask you for that, and thank you very much in advance. Win a pound of gold.com. Okay. Today is the day in American history. There's actually a lot to talk about. The Congress recessed yesterday. Now, I used to be of the opinion, and I still am, that anytime the critters, the Zionist Israeli servants, aren't meeting in Mordor on the Potomac, that's a good thing. So I'm actually not upset or perturbed that Johnson looked at them all and went like, you know what? He did Maggie's shirt. He did Maggie's Jesus shirt. Disappointments, all of you. And he said, go home. You all suck. You're all horrible. Go home. So Congress is not in session, but Congress was in session on this day in 1776. And imagine that you are the then young 26-year-old Thomas Jefferson. You're really not sure how you got to the Second Continental Congress as a delegate from the most, how shall we say, it was the most erudite of all of the colonies, the Virginia colony, the Old Dominion. As we've talked about 1 billion times on this show, 5 out of the first 7 presidents come from Virginia, including the father of his country, George Washington. So here's a young 26-year-old Jefferson. He did not. He was not a delegate to the First Continental Congress. He was a delegate to the Second Continental Congress, meaning his term began in 1776, because the First Continental Congress began in 1774. And he didn't have any pedigree. He didn't have any accomplishments. He had been elected to the Virginia House of Burgesses. He was hanging around with the right people, Richard Henry Lee, George Mason. He was a student of George Withes, who was the professor emeritus of law at William and Mary. He was, of course, an acquaintance of George Washington. He knew Patrick Henry, but he didn't like him. So him and Henry didn't like Jefferson either. So here's this young Thomas Jefferson, and he's written this document that's going to live far beyond him. And he has 81 charges that he's leveled at the British Parliament and the King. And he has to sit there all day, July 2nd. They started at 9 a.m. They didn't finish until like 7 p.m. He has to sit there all day, July 2nd, listening to all the other 55 or 53 delegates to the Continental Congress rip his work to shreds, word by word. And so that was what was going on in the Continental Congress today. They would take the 81 charges and they would reduce them down to the final draft would have 36 charges against the king in it, and the parliament, and you know the rest, and they'll vote on it on July the 4th. And then we on Tuesday's show, we covered Lied on the Table, and we covered the actual copies and printing of the Declaration. But just think about today, 2 days hence, as the author will say, 2 days hence will be the 250th anniversary of the signing, unanimous passage, of the Declaration of Independence. 50 years to the day after the Declaration is signed on July 4, 1776, Thomas Jefferson, the aforementioned Thomas Jefferson, and John Adams will both die on the same day. Adams's last words were, "Thomas Jefferson still lives." That was the last thing Adams said. Thomas Jefferson still lives. Beautifully portrayed in my movie, The Road to Independence by Jay Thomas, and belting that line out. That's the last thing that Adams said. We don't know what the last thing Jefferson said was, because he was pretty much he pretty much died alone. He had his valet was there. They say that that one of the slave girls or whatever may have been present. We don't. You'll never know, because it wasn't recorded if it was. Imagine that then you're the heirs of Thomas Jefferson, and there's only 2 that have survived that 50 years. One of them has married a Randolph, so there's no carrying forth the Jefferson name, and the other one is barren and has no children. So there are no Jeffersons alive today that I know of, unless they come in. Now, if there's a Randolph, then it's a possibility that it could be one of Thomas Jefferson's great-great-grandsons or daughters, 8 generations or 8 generations removed. but there are no Jeffersons, just like there's no Washingtons. Any Washington is a descendant of a slave who took George Washington's last name. So the founding fathers didn't even pass on to their progeny. Many of them didn't pass on to their progeny their name. I find some of these little historical facts just they're just interesting. An event that happened yesterday. Okay, so Trump goes to the Teddy Roosevelt Museum. Was it North Dakota? It was in North Dakota, right? North Dakota there, you know, there. And some of what he did yesterday I actually thought was pretty cool. Like he took a ride on the Freedom Train. Mm-hmm. And, you know, like David Allen Coe said, what's that?
Roosevelt did the same.
I was going to say Roosevelt did the same thing. As David Allen Coe told us in The Greatest Country and Western Song Ever Written, that it couldn't have been the perfect country and western song because it hadn't said anything at all about mama or trains or trucks or prison or getting drunk. Trains are just cool. Before the last generation, before Generation X and Generations, or Generation Alpha and Generation Z, were the two worst generations ever, and who were not brought up principally by men, were brought up either by orphanages or communities or women. So they have been deprived of the great things of our childhood and upbringing, like trains. And a love and an affinity for trains. You know, when I was a little children, you know, one of the things that I asked for every Christmas or for Christmas when I was like 4 or 5, whatever, and I ultimately received it, was a train set. You know, who didn't like snapping the tracks together and then picking out your train, and then if you got one that was customizable, then it came with the paints and the paintbrushes and the stickers and stuff, and you could paint your own. You could paint your own engine and put names on it and stuff. Who didn't grow up loving trains? So Trump jumped on the Freedom Train, the Roosevelt Freedom Train. Took a train ride, got off, and then gave a little speech. And then on his way to the Teddy Roosevelt Library in North Dakota there, and this was cool. Regardless of what you think about Trump these days, this was actually cool. He's in the Beast car, and he is surrounded, he is escorted to the library by Rough Riders. Actual dudes on horseback, dressed up like Rough Riders. And their navy blue, long Wrangler shirts, and their suspenders. There it is. Maggie's got the video. And their suspenders and their khaki pants. And it was just a cool sight to watch. That they come riding in. They're in front of the Beast, so they're the security car is leading the procession, and then the Beast was a couple of security cars, as you see right there on your screen, and then here come the Rough Riders, and it's just cool. So, and they're going to come right past this camera here, and then you get a good look at. They have their chaps on and their khakis and their long sleeve blue shirts and their hats and their suspenders. It's just real. It's just cool. There's so many Americana things like that are cool. And then there's Trump and the Beast, and he passes by. And then he goes and gives a speech. Now, I'm still trying to figure out. He said something yesterday, and I'm going like, what are you talking about, dude? Did you really pass your mental physical? Because I don't think that he did. He says, and the city is Medora, North Dakota there. He said, well, the Supremes messed it up. Yeah, they messed it up, but it's okay because we got this, they don't know, we got this out of it. And I'm like, finish the sentence. Finish the sentence. We got what out of it? And he didn't finish the sentence. I asked Maggie, I said, well, okay, yes, next. You go. He stopped right there. He just stopped. So I think his teleprompter broke. And I think he was just rambling, and he had to kill time on his own. By the by, there's some people that are on the mall in Mordor and the Potomac that are going to their individual states' displays. Like the state of North Carolina refused to put one there, said they couldn't afford it. So a bunch of volunteers put one up. And this should just... there's so many things out there that you could find that are just like infuriating, and this is one of them. They put a rebel flag, a poster of a rebel flag up on it for the first days that it was up. Somebody from the North Carolina government goes in to go see it and sees the rebel flag and throws a temper tantrum, and then the organizers of the event apologize profusely, and then they remove it. You realize the damage that is being done to what little Southern pride and just the reverence to the history of the South and of the Confederacy that is being done by these cowards who want to look at things through the lens of 2026 instead of through the lens of what it actually looked like when it occurred in 1861 when North Carolina joined the Confederacy. And by the way, you know what else they had in the North Carolina exhibit? They had a NASCAR in there decked out in Bass Pro Shop colors. And I'm going, like, my comment on that is, well, North Carolina actually was in the Confederacy. That is a part of its history. It did ratify its own constitution. It did proclaim itself a free and independent state in 1861. It did fly the rebel flag over the Capitol in Raleigh. It did all these things. That's part of its history. Bass Pro Shops is not. So the Bass Pro Shop car can stay, but the rebel flag has got to go. And it's kind of like this is a common thing with the 250th anniversary. Yeah, no, we're not celebrating what they actually did. We're celebrating the new and improved and DEI and woke America. Well, you can do that, but we're not going to do that. Okay, folks, last chance to get Golden True tickets today. Your last chance to win my pound of gold. Go to winapoundofgold.com during the timeout. I'll give you an update on the count. We can do this together.
The Mike Church Show has been the industry leader in promotions, giving away 5 cars in the last 8 years alone. But nothing can prepare you for the greatest giveaway event in broadcast history. Coming June 8th.
One of my favorite books is Jim Collins' Good to Great, and lots of people have benefited from reading it, including me. But few people have read his follow-up book, How the Mighty Fall. Now, over the course of the last 18 years, has been quite the feat of survival to avoid becoming one of the fallen, but survive we have. And guess what else survived? The world-famous Dude Number t-shirt, which began in 2007. Now, to kick off the relaunch of this elite membership club, we announced a brand new t-shirt design, a brand new certificate of authenticity, and access to numbers that have only recently become available. Here's Jim to tell you how to secure that Dude Number that's unique and special to you.
Just head to MikeChurch.com/dude for all things Dude Number, including purchasing your 2026 version of the world-famous Dude Number t-shirt. That's MikeChurch.com/dude and join America's morning show, The Mike Church Show, and the Red, White, and Dude Nation's elite membership club. That's MikeChurch.com/dude.
I think I'll go to sleep and dream about piles of gold getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Here's a piles and piles of gold fun fact. When the Trump administration began, an ounce of gold cost $2,750. At the 17-month mark, with his Iran war and MAGA inflation, it's at $4,500. Now, we don't know where the $1,750 price difference went, but we do know that Mike Church has 1 troy pound of gold in his safe, and that he's going to give it away on July 2nd. And even if you're a neocon in MAGA clothing, you can still win it.
Win Mike Church's Pound of Gold. Tickets on sale now exclusively at winapoundofgold.com. Reposting Laura Loomer lies forgiven. Pardons sold separately.
In 1983, ZZ Top made the song and it was true from the time that song came out till around 2010, when girls stopped going crazy over a sharp-dressed man because men stopped dressing sharply. Cargo shorts, flip-flops, and tank tops became all the rage for men's public casual wear, to say nothing of how they dressed for mass. Well, as my listeners and viewers know, there's hardly anything more important to me than being a sharp-dressed man. And to help you become one, I'm introducing the official necktie of the Mike Church Show, Proselytize, whose designs are not only striking, they're 100% Catholic. You will look fantastic and like a sharp-dressed Catholic man in your Proselytize neckties. Available now in the Mike Church Show haberdashery at shop.mikechurch.com. Shop for ties, caps, t-shirts, and much more in the Mike Church Show haberdashery at shop.mikechurch.com. All right, let's go to the Golden Truth Ticket Hotline and see who we have here. Caller number 4. Who is this caller number 4?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mike. This is Phil, your displaced Cajun brother.
Philip Thoreau. Philip, what will you do with that big pile of shimmering 24-karat gold coins if you win it?
I was thinking about swimming through it like Scrooge McDuck, but...
Well, no, really. Outside of that, what would you do?
I'm generally going to keep as much of it as I can, probably unload a few to pay some bills and spread around the wealth a little bit.
Man, you could buy some mag tires for that truck of yours, mag rims.
That's already set up. That's the company's. I got to buy some for my crappy pickup truck I just bought.
Well, there you go. Well, Philip, thanks for playing the Golden True Ticket Contest game, and you've got 2 tickets now, so 2 chances to win.
Beautiful.
Okay, brother, it's always great to hear from a longtime listener, Philip. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. Folks, you can be next here. Listen tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. when I play the Golden Truth Ticket soundbite of the day. Be the appropriate number caller when you hear that soundbite played back, and you win a Golden Truth Ticket. Know the prize, secret prize. Know the secret prize word of the day, and you win two Golden Truth Tickets here. But you don't have to wait for that. You can get your tickets right now at winapoundofgold.com.
The Mike Church Show has some
Princess Bride themed advice for the MAGA cons now running the Trump administration.
Ha you fool! You fell victim to one of the classic blunders. The most famous is never get involved in a land war in Asia.
The Mike Church Show
A daily beacon of chivalry and peace.
on the Red, White, and Dude Nation.
No, it's not the soundbite of the day. It's just a bumper music song. With Stevie Nicks, the nanny goat, singing back up there. July 2nd show. No, we're not giving the gold away today. We're going to give it away tomorrow morning at the 9 o'clock hour. It'll be a very special broadcast. I will email you details out. Just depends on how late of a night it is. Well, we didn't do any, I think my screen must be broken here. There's no way that's, it's not. There's no way that's correct. So, we didn't move the needle at all in the last segment. I was only able to con and to guilt trip 6 tickets to the total. So the remaining is not 8,000, it's 8,273. But I did want to point out, and I did want to say, And to thank longtime listener Bob Niedert. Interesting kind of little story here. Mr. Niedert doesn't like the internet, and he doesn't trust the banks. So he has been paying for his Founders Pass membership by check, like since forever. So he always sends checks. So I got a letter from Bob second week in June or so, and it was a check. And he said, Mike and Maggie, please give me 2 Golden Truth tickets. It's all I can afford this month. Thank you very much. And, of course, we did so. And then a couple of days ago, Mr. Nieder wrote me again. And he said, he goes, okay, I can do 2 more. So he asked me to reset his password, so I did. And he went and did 2 more. And he just emailed me this morning. He goes, Mike, thank you for resetting the password. I picked up an additional 4 tickets, so now I got 6 total. Now, if Bob Nieder, the check guy, who I think is probably a retiree, can find $200 today to go to winapoundofgold.com and to make this the greatest, most smashingest promotional success in the history of the Crusade Channel, Ethics and Broadcasting Network, and Mike Church Show, if Bob Nieder can find $200, I got guilt-tripped into doing something once. Maggie and I went on a rosary on a Eucharistic procession pilgrimage for the May crowning of Our Lady during the Corona Doom. So we went to St. Jane de Chantal Church. It was a Saturday morning, and we did the procession around before Father Charles. What's his? Dussoy. I wanted to say Giuseppe. And then we went back in front of we weren't allowed to go in the Knights of Columbus Hall because of the Corona Doom. So we were outside the Knights of Columbus building there in Abita Springs. And there came the part where, they had a little altar set up there, and Father Charles did a benediction basically. We did the whole service and the O salutaris hostia. So we did all that, and as this was going on, Maggie and I are there, and now I'm relatively speaking, I'm a geezer. Well, she's a spring chicken.
Nope.
But next to us are the Burrows, John and Carla. Mr. John was in his mid-80s then. He's 90 now. And we're in a parking lot with black asphalt pavement. It's not concrete, it's pavement. So, it's kind of rough. And there were people that were, when you do the benediction, that weren't kneeling. They were standing because they didn't want to get their knees all messed up. or they didn't want the pain on their knees. Well, I looked over, and there was that 80-some-odd-year-old woman and that 85-year-old man on their knees on pavement, and it just shamed me because I was standing. It just shamed me. And I'm like, if that old man can do it, I can do it. And he stayed kneeling for the entirety of the benediction rite, which takes, I guess that one took like 10 minutes or so. Then there was the saying of the rosary afterwards, and he didn't move. And so I sat there, and by the end, your legs start shaking. You're in so much pain. So my point is that I was guilt-tripped into the kneel. I would have done it anyway, but there was no way I was going to let that old man out-kneel me. I'm looking like, you're not going to get me, buddy. So, in that spirit, are you going to let Bob Niedert, our wonderful, beloved subscriber, listener, and pay-by-check retiree guy, out Golden Truth ticket you young people? He's got 6 now. I think everybody ought to have 6, or at least 6. And there are some of you that do. WinniePoundOfGold.com. It's the same thing every year, isn't it? It's always just the last minute. I was rereading Eric Moyer today, and I put it in today's Church Doctrine email newsletter, and I was rereading the part of his conclusion where, and if you don't recall, this was last week that we did this. I think I split it up in 3 days. America's original sin the 1787 coup, cult of consent, and inversion of logos. And I was reading his conclusion again, and so I thought, you know what, I'm going to put this into the the church doctrine today as quote of the day. So, and his conclusion begins, and I just put the first paragraph in it. And the first paragraph is, wait a minute, let me get to it. It's so long, the essay. Many continue to believe Mara can be restored by returning to its founding ideals through activism, litigation, or moral witness. This hope is not merely historical naivete, but a psychological coping mechanism, a way to manage despair without confronting finality. The founding betrayal is irreversible. Every attempt at reclamation merely consecrates the original fraud, converting restoration into ritual and postponing reckoning. All right, hold that thought right there. There's an essay at thefederalist.com. The Supreme Court doesn't have the final word on birthplace citizenship. Now, first thing I thought when I saw the title was, oh, that's interesting. Maybe I'll get some inspiration out of this, and I'll read it. So I started reading it. And there was about 2 paragraphs there, and I went, wait a minute, Lincoln worship. So I scrolled down to the bottom, and my suspicion was this has got to be one of these guys that is from the Claremont Institute. And sure enough, I get down to his byline. Dr. John Eastman is a senior fellow at the Claremont Institute. You know, you could just tell. When the Lincoln worship comes in, you can tell. We are not going to follow the path of Lincoln, Mr. Eastman, and declare war on half of the United States and go kill 850,000 human beings so that the South can be subjugated all over again. We need to do it the constitutional way, as Lincoln said. I have news for you. We're in this pickle with this birthright citizenship nonsense because of the constitutional way. Stop denying it. The Supreme Court is an instrument of the U.S. Constitution. As a matter of fact, how many babies were killed under Roe? Before the Dobbs decision, I believe the count was 61 million. There's 61 million potential American citizens, potential curers of cancer, potential priests, potential bishops, maybe even a potential pope who were murdered in utero, and that was done per, we were told, the U.S. Constitution via an edict from the federal judiciary and the Supreme Court. So people that are out there lollydaying around today and going, oh, there's so much to do about nothing. This too shall pass. Oh, it's okay. No, it's not okay. The Supreme Court brought into existence, sewn together out of whole cloth from the text of the 14th Amendment, the Miracle Amendment as I call it, Roe. And 61 million babies were executed as a result of it. Don't tell me the Constitution can repair this. It's the Constitution that was used to do it. What do you think they're going to do with birthright citizenship now? Tell you what they're going to do. The Democrat Party right now has envoys and recruiters in all of the bad third world countries, and they are recruiting young women and young men to sneak in to the United States and to have children, a child, so that they get to become American citizens. And then they will get right back on the voter rolls as they were before Trump deported them. They will glom on to the welfare system, and they will infect and then ruin every culture they are or every locality's culture that they are injected into. That's what's going to happen if it's not stopped. So, how do we propose to stop it? I told our coffee delivery guy yesterday came by and he goes, "Oh, Mike, you got to tell me, what's George Webb up to? You always ask me about George Webb." And I said, "I don't know. I haven't talked to him." And then he said, "Well, what are we going to do about this birthright citizenship thing?" And I gave him the 4 options. He didn't like them. And he left. He just gave me the talk to the hand. He was so just beside himself, and he just rolled out. I was genuinely surprised.
He usually stays here forever.
Because he usually stays here for half an hour talking. I have to get him water. He stays here so long. What were the 4 solutions or options that I gave him? Well, the same ones that are now being talked about. You can have the Birthright Citizenship Act. You could have Andy Ogles get into the United States if you're a pregnant woman, or the what's it called, wavy navies, something waves, wavy. So you can have an act of Congress which is going to get challenged in court immediately. It's going to wind up right back at the Supreme Court. You could do a constitutional amendment. Now that we are properly counting the states, it's 15 states aren't going to ratify. And that's when it was at that point that my buddy Fraser went, "Nope, that's it, I'm out." And he goes, "What about constitutional amendment?" I said, "Well, let's count the states that aren't going to ratify." And I could just see the man's heart sink. And I started to tick them off. Let me tick them off to you. These are the states that are not going to ratify the 29th Amendment, Rand Paul's 29th Amendment, which will undo what the Supreme Court has just done. California, Oregon, Washington, Illinois, Colorado, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Vermont, Virginia, Hawaii, Maryland, Delaware. That's 15. That means that you have 35 states who are left with a constitutional amendment that they wish to be implemented. They ratified it, and it's not going to go into effect because there are 15 states that are never going to ratify it and are going to become anchor baby hellholes. And then we're supposed to remain in union with them. The only, I'm going to say, what is the option after that then, students? And when I talk about this, I genuinely mean this. Tell me, what is the option? Well, I suppose the other option is just suck it up, buttercup. Just pretend like it never happened. And just go about your business and pray, hope, cope, and don't worry. I think that nefarious, evil, demonically inspired people across the world right now are plotting our demise. Not just because they can, but for all of the things that we have done to them. If you're an Iraqi, you're going, "Oh, so I can go to the United States, pop a kid out, automatically a citizen. That kid can then get me an anchor in, and I can infiltrate the United States. And if enough of us do this, we can work on doing to them what they did to us." The Iranians could do the same thing. The Syrians could do the same thing. Insert your country that we have had undeclared wars in the Middle East since the 1980s here. The Afghanistans, the Afghanis could do it. Would the Russians want to do it? I don't know. Do they hate us that much? The Chinese, certainly. Chinese Communist Party, as Trump was joking, maybe it's no joke. Speaking of Trump joking, I had a thought. What if that executive order that he signed? Now look, I'm just throwing this out here. I'm not proclaiming this. I'm just, because there are a lot of you that think that he is the Manchurian candidate. Well, let's flesh that out for a moment. What if the executive order that he signed, making illegal birthright citizenship, what if he knew all along it was going to wind up at the SCOTUS and that they had the votes to nuke it and then to basically codify into the Constitution the birthright citizenship? Now, I'm not saying that he did that. I'm saying that if someone were to think that it is a possibility, is it not? So again, tell me, how are we supposed to get out of this particular pickle? 844-527-8723, Crusader Stadium chat room, crusadechannel.com/chat. I think the first thing that we could do is say that we will not obey. Communicate to your legislator, your state senator, your state representative, and to your governor that don't you dare think that this state is going to obey that court decision. And if it means that I have to run against you, Kim Carver, in this district, or in Western Louisiana, if I have to run against that representative to get that point of view heard in the Louisiana legislature, well, then that's what I got to do. And for many of you, that's what you're going to have to do. If they won't do it, then you're just going to have to step up to the plate, and you're going to have to do it. Because if you don't, what will your children and your grandchildren think about you if the unthinkable happens? It's a very real pickle that we're in here. Maybe there's a shock factor that is out there, and it hasn't sunk in yet of just the dastardly nature of what they have done. I don't know how to communicate it more forcibly. Here, so let's do this. Okay. 2026 Golden Truth tickets. What is this? This is a troy pound of silver. This is the second place prize. You can't win it if you don't have a ticket. So if you don't have a ticket, I implore you, for the sake of all things live broadcasting and unpodcast and stuff, go get one right now at winapoundofgold.com. So I'm asking everyone out there that does have a ticket, if you're listening, double your ticket holding. If it's just one, make it two. If everyone does that, then we are now talking, well, there's only 7,500 tickets remaining. Now, if you don't go and do this, this is where Maggie is going to put me. In the doghouse with buckshot. I had a friend call me yesterday and said, dude, I'm going to buy some tickets. Just, I feel so terrible for you. It sounds like the end is near. You can't go off the air. And I said, well, I said, we're not going to go off the air. Sure. Maggie's going like, sure.
We don't have a house, yeah.
Well, we're not going to go off the air. We just may not be able to provide and do the services that we're currently providing. We certainly won't be able to continue looking to recruit someone else that we can pay to come in here and learn the art of live broadcasting. I said, that's the biggest disappointment, that there is no possibility that that's going to happen. And all I can do is preach to you guys every morning. Today's my last chance. Is today the day that you go and you really go, all right, King Dude, we're going to pull you and Steve Cunningham and Sensus Fidelium through this, and we're going to go and buy. I made an offer on the YouTube channel. I said, somebody's out there sitting on 20 grand and 501c3 money that you're going to give away this year anyway. Why don't you give it to us? And I tell you what, I'll make you a deal. You go buy 400 tickets, and I will bonus you 10% of that. I'll bonus you 40 tickets. Now you got 440. You realize that at that point, that would mean that person, and if they paid it forward, that would be even more fantastic, that person would have about 1/5 of all the available tickets that are going to go into that hopper, and that great of a chance to win the gold tomorrow. So winapoundofgold.com. So I'm reading this piece that started all this at the Federalist, and then I wanted to cover this. This guy goes by the name Jefferson Davis on X, and he goes, y'all are all missing what's happening here with the 14th Amendment. First of all, and I'm going to tell you this, the 14th Amendment was never ratified. Forrest McDonald proved this in 1991 with an essay. If you're a Founders Pass Dude Nation member, it's on my site at mikechurch.com. And it was called the Unconstitutionality of the Ratification of the 14th Amendment. So Jefferson Davis is the dude on Twitter. He says, 14th Amendment looks complicated only if you ignore the timeline and treat it as some timeless statement of universal principle. Once you line up the events in order, the story is straightforward. Republicans opposed the expansion of slavery into the territories before the war because they wanted to block Southerners from bringing their voting power into new states. I told you this. Slavery itself was never the ultimate target. It was a tool. Stopping it in the territories was a way to keep Southern political influence from growing and diluting Northern Republican strength. The 13th Amendment was passed to punish the South after the war. Once slavery ended, the old 3/5 clause disappeared, and black people were counted as full persons for representation. Andrew Johnson then moved to readmit the Southern states on the theory that they had never actually left the Union. I'm going to pause right there because we're going to run out of time. Okay. So I'll go and double our Golden Truth ticket holdings this time out here at winapoundofgold.com. And I'll come back with the happy news.
We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. I feel commitments while I'm thinking of. You wouldn't get this from any other guy. I just wanna tell you how I'm feeling. Gotta make you understand. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. We've known each other for so long. Your heart's been aching, but you're too shy to say it. Inside we both know what's been going on. We know the game and we're gonna play it. And if you ask me how I'm feeling, don't tell me you're too blind to see. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you.
The Crusade Channel. Talk radio the way it should be. Broadcasting live from Madisonville, Louisiana, and streaming 24/7 at crusadechannel.com. When you hear the noon bells tolling, it's time for Angelus. Brought to you by the Crusade Channel.
Membership has its privileges.
American Express was right back in the 1970s. Membership has its privileges, and no membership privilege is greater to a Red, White, and Dude Nation listener than membership in the elite membership club that is the Dude Number. Here's Lee to tell you how to get yours.
That's right, King Dude. Membership does have its privileges. And when it comes to the Dude Number, applying for membership has never been easier. Just head to mikechurch.com/dude to start the membership process. Your unique and one-of-a-kind membership and all the privileges that come with it awaits you. As a member, you'll enjoy private chat groups, VIP privileges to all Mike Church show events, early access to new Dude-geared store items, and of course, your unique Dude Number.
Dude 1210 reporting all quiet on the Eastern Front.
This is Mike's favorite punching bag, Dude number 13.
Hi, this is Steve. My Dude Number is 2112.
Dude number 2004, proud member of the Red, White, and Dude Nation reporting for duty.
Become a part of something bigger than any talk show there is and apply for your Dude Number today at mikechurch.com/dude.
Membership has its privileges.
I think I'll go to sleep and dream about piles of gold getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Here's a piles and piles of gold fun fact. The first gold rush wasn't in California or in Alaska. It was in Dahlonega, Georgia in 1829 and lasted until the last gold mine closed around 1910. Now, some people say that there's still gold in them there Georgia hills. We don't know about that, but we do know that Mike Church has 1 troy pound of gold in his safe, and he's going to give it away to one of you on July 2nd.
Win Mike Church's Pound of Gold. Tickets on sale now exclusively at winapoundofgold.com. Vacation sold separately.
Hi, folks. It's Mike Church, founder of Founding Father Films, asking you to learn the true stories of America's founding by purchasing my movie, The Road to Independence, the movie. The Road to Independence tells the exciting story of the Founding Fathers' struggle to declare independence.
Binding on themselves and their posterity for their common defense against their enemies, for the security of their liberties and properties, the safety of their persons and families, and their mutual and general welfare.
This animated movie comes complete with collector's booklets, DTS surround sound, and are packed with hours of bonus features. Learn the true stories of America's founding and order Mike Church's The Road to Independence on DVD and CD. Available now at mikechurch.com/DVD and by calling 844-527-8723. Hey folks, Mike Church here. You know, when I was a little cheerins, I remember loving the old Dunkin' Donuts TV spot. You know, the one with the guy who got up at 3 a.m. mumbling to himself as he went out the door and then back in his front door.
Time to make the donut.
Well, fast forward 46 years, and now I'm the guy waking up at 3 a.m., mumbling to myself as I go in the studio door, then back out. Time to make the radio. I made the radio. I made the radio. But I have a secret weapon the Dunkin' Donut dude didn't have. Mike Church's Capuchin Holy Roast coffee in whole bean or ground. Our fresh, aromatic, gourmet coffee is made from 100% fair trade beans, freshly imported, roasted by my friend Kyle and his daughter at the Abita Roasting Company, then delivered to you so fresh your kitchen will smell like a barista shop. Good. So, whenever you arise to take on the day and listen to the Mike Church Show, do it the Red, White, and Dude Nation way by brewing up a fresh pot of Capuchin Holy Roast or my all-new Capuchin Holy Roast New Orleans blend coffee and chicory at shop.mikechurch.com. All right, let's go to the Golden Truth Ticket hotline here. Caller number 5. Who's this?
This is Bushwood Lady.
Bushwood Lady for the win.
Oh, I'm so excited.
You're named after everyone's favorite golf course.
Actually, it's a little town in Maryland.
Bushwood, Maryland. I don't think I have ever been there.
Well, it's right on the Wycomico River.
Oh,
across from Robert E. Lee's birthplace in Virginia.
That is an important landmark.
Yes, and we're the only probably southern part of Maryland left.
So you still sing Maryland, My Maryland?
Yes, in the old way.
Yes. Well, Betsy, you have the secret password of the day?
Is it Duckies?
Duckies it is.
Great.
Okay, if you are to win my gold on July the 2nd, what will you use it for?
I will probably help my children pay off some debt.
Well, that's a new answer. Help children pay off debt. I feel like Richard Dawson. Survey said.
I am an old person, so I won't be needing it where I'm going, I hope.
Well, I thank you so much for calling. Congratulations to you, Betsy, and good luck.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. You too, folks, can be our next winner. Listen every weekday morning, 6:30 a.m. for the soundbite of the day. We'll play it back later in the day. Be the right number caller. Have my secret password of the day from YouTube, and you win not 1 but 2 Golden Truth tickets. But you don't have to wait for that because you can get your Golden Truth ticket today at winapoundofgold.com. One of my favorite books is Jim Collins' Good to Great, and lots of people have benefited from reading it, including me. But few people have read his follow-up book, How the Mighty Fall. Now, over the course of the last 18 years, has been quite the feat of survival to avoid becoming one of the fallen, but survive we have. And guess what else survived? The world-famous Dude Number t-shirt, which began in 2007. Now, to kick off the relaunch of this elite membership club, we announced a brand new t-shirt design, a brand new certificate of authenticity, and access to numbers that have only recently become available. Here's Jim to tell you how to secure that dude number that's unique and special to you.
Just head to MikeChurch.com/dude for all things dude number, including purchasing your 2026 version of the world famous dude number t-shirt. That's MikeChurch.com/dude and join America's morning show, The Mike Church Show, and the Red, White, and Dude Nation's elite membership club. That's MikeChurch.com/dude. You want your favorite talk show shaken.
You look pale, Mr. Bond. I hope I didn't frighten you.
I see, I've always been a nervous passenger.
Not stirred.
Some men just don't like to be driven.
No, some men just don't like to be taken for a ride.
Unlike the fake conservatives in Zion Media, Mike Church will never take you for a ride, but he will help you on your journey to a blessed eternity.
Dude, 8,238 tickets in stock. That means we're at 238 from the intermediate goal today. Getting down to 8,000 tickets in stock by the end of the broadcast today. So you got to go to winapoundofgold.com. Go right now. Check your email if you want a discount. There are discounts available. There are some coupons, coupon codes that are left. Especially if you're going to pony up and buy like 100 tickets, then you can get a 25% discount code. 50 tickets, a 20% discount code. 25 tickets, a 15% discount code. 10 tickets, a 10%. And any ticket above 2, a 5%. But you got to go and check your email because the code is in the email. And then just click the link that's in the email, take you right to that page, and then you'll have the code right in front of you. And bam-o, we're on our way to wiping out 238 tickets sold this hour at winapoundofgold.com. So the what is the gold price today? You know, I think I have the page open somewhere. So many. I want to see who is on the leaderboard because the brothers and sisters were duking it out for first and second.
Brother Andre Marie is well above.
So Brother Andre Marie is going to take the gold medal unless KR Price 2.
498.
Brother has got $500 in earnings, which means he has sold well over $20,000 worth of tickets. So there are ticket buyers out there. You're listening right now. We can't make you support live, independent ethics and broadcasting media and radio, but you should. Can I ask a question? Why wouldn't you? So if you don't have a ticket, go get one. If you do have one, can you double the amount that you have right now? This is kind of like our telethon show at winapoundofgold.com. So it's Bam in first, KR Price 2 in second, MICM Sisters. Our sisters are in third. Bob Kopka is in fourth. Allison, that's our tech development company. She is in fourth, and then Paul S. is in fifth. No one has moved up that leaderboard since it is pretty much unchanged from yesterday. So if you need Bam's code so you can get Bam some credit, look him up on Signal or X or whatever. You could probably get his link there. Same deal with the sisters. I'm pretty sure they have a Facebook page, don't they?
Yes.
Sisters have the MICM Sisters, the St. Philomena Convent. Facebook page. I gave them their own unique link, so I know that they have one. All right. Let me finish up with this 14th Amendment hullabaloo because people keep asking me about it. Can you post a link to the 14th Amendment thing so I can find out that it was never legally ratified? It was never legally ratified. A state that was kicked out of the Union or a state that seceded, a southern state, could not ratify an amendment as a condition of admission to the Union. Read the Constitution. Read Article 5. It'll tell you how an amendment can be ratified. Only a state in the Union can ratify an amendment. State of Virginia in 1865 was not in the Union. It could not possibly have voted to ratify the 14th Amendment. That's why it was never legally ratified. And then then Andrew Johnson counted the southern states as in the Union, but said as a condition of rejoining the Union, they had to ratify the 13th and then the 14th. So Jefferson Davis on X says, Republicans suddenly face the prospect of a restored South with increased congressional power fueled by the very population they had just freed. See, what happened is, when Congress forced the southern states, the Confederate states, back into Lincoln's Union, this Hades-forsaken union of ours, the 3/5 clause got nuked. What's the 3/5 clause? The 3/5 clause is in the original text of the Constitution, and it said that blacks as slaves were only counted as 3/5 of citizens. Now, the reason they did this in the Philadelphia Convention was precisely because the northern states in the convention that did not have slavery did not want slaves being counted in congressional apportionment. So in other words, you're going to have one representative for every 30,000 people. Well, if you count the slaves, well, then the South would have had dozens and dozens more members of Congress. And the North there would have been politically less powerful. So that's why the 3/5 clause was in. When the 13th Amendment is ratified, well, now every slave that has now been basically emancipated gets counted in the census. Does everyone understand this? That means even though the southern states lost hundreds of thousands of young men in Lincoln's War of Northern Aggression, there were significantly more slaves, male and female, that were going to be counted in the census. So this was going to be a political disaster for the Republican northern states that had to do something about it. Solution, 14th Amendment. Black citizenship was never the driving concern, Jefferson Davis says on X. Attorney General Bates' opinion on the subject was issued to justify arming black men during the war, a purely practical wartime move. When that same population threatened to hand political power back to the Democrats through readmission, Congress acted. That is the 14th Amendment. When the 14th Amendment did not fully secure the political advantage Republicans sought, they moved on to the 15th. In the 1868 election, the Republican platform explicitly called for black suffrage only in the South, not nationwide. The same Congress that supposedly embedded universal birthright citizenship in 1866 refused to endorse black voting rights in the North there just 2 years later. Dates matter. The court's opinion talks as if the framers were operating from some consistent theory of universal citizenship in 1866. Yet those same Republicans treated black voting as a sectional weapon in 1868. The entire sequence, from the fight over the territories to the 13th Amendment to the 14th to the 15th, is a story of political power, not abstract principle. Once you stop looking for a grand philosophy and simply follow what the Republicans actually did at each step to protect and expand their own position, the confusion disappears. And now you can all sit around and pretend you are legal experts by debating the meaning of a clause that wasn't even legally ratified, but that is a post for another day, staff of Jefferson Davis. So you see, first you had the war. Then when the war's concluded at Appomattox, in the same year, then you get the 13th Amendment shoved down the Confederate states' throats. And then after the 13th Amendment, then you get the 14th Amendment, and then you get the 15th. And the 15th is not very well known. The 15th Amendment basically says the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. In other words, slaves can vote. That's what that means. So he's right. When you're piecing the timeline together, when you go through the timeline, you wind up, you look at the whole thing as a whole, and you can see that it was, just as he says, it was a plot and a plan that was well executed to maintain political power for the most historians call them, the good historians call them the radical Republicans of the North there. And these are the cranks, the same ones that everyone is running around quoting in their discussions about the 14th Amendment. No, Bingham said this. No, Jacob Howard said this. Those were the radical Republicans. So people are operating from the point of view that this was purely the noble elites in their love and in their warm embrace of blacks. They did this out of selfless Christian love for their fellow man. No, they didn't. And they also put that clause in there about borrowing money. They wanted to make sure that the English, who were threatening at the time, that the English didn't go like, oh, you guys just weren't well funded in your little war. You think the English didn't think that by aiding and assisting the Confederate States, and should the Confederate States be victorious in the War of Northern Aggression, can you see how the entire geopolitical world would have been turned upside down? Because the British Empire was concerned, it was primarily doing business with the Yankee North there because of the system of duties, imposts, and tariffs that the South suffered under and paid and toiled under. There's a lot about this history that's not well known. So when someone says, we need to get back to not being rhinos anymore, and they're talking about the radical Republicans of the 1860s, you don't want to be a radical Republican of the 1860s. Those people were Protestant evil bastards. Right, Steve Cunningham? 100% right. He said 100% right. Most of our fellow Catholics know nothing about any of this stuff that we're just talking about. Hang on, I gotta unplug and replug, of course, so I can get you on. There you are. No, I want to get you on. What am I doing here? There you go. All right, there we go. And then there I am there. Right, Steve Cunningham?
100%, yes. Who were burning at the stake again? But yes. That whole thing when you mentioned, that was eye-opening. Where did I first hear that? Was it one of the Kennedy brothers, I think, wrote about it, and that it was Reconstruction. I think the latest book they just came out with. And I was like, what? And did another. His brother wrote one on, was it Lincoln's Marxist? I was like, what? What is this about? And
are you talking about the ratification of the 14th Amendment, or you're just talking about the plot that they unleashed and they followed?
Yeah, no, the group in general, the German Marxists in general, that led to that, and then what was it? What was his name? He wrote. There's a guy who wrote in 1957 U.S. News and World Report. I haven't seen. You know what I'm talking about?
I do, because J. Arthur Bloom mentioned that article. Remember, when Arthur was on last week, he mentioned that article. And I'm trying.
David Lawrence.
Was it who?
David Lawrence.
David Lawrence. I don't know. Maggie, our correct research associate over there, will find it if it's out there to be found. But this is a great time to be talking about this, because this is actually in the 250 years of American history. Most people don't know any of this. They certainly don't know that the 14th Miracle Amendment was never ratified. They don't know that as a condition of readmission into the Union, which they did not seek, they didn't seek it, they didn't desire it. You know, it's interesting. Marshall DeRosa points this out in one of his books, and so does Thomas DiLorenzo in some of his columns. When the Southern states seceded in South Carolina's the first, your state, December 1860. South Carolina goes first, we're done. You won't meet with our delegates because Seward wouldn't meet with the South Carolina delegates. Screw you. Screw you guys, I'm going home. And they just went, yep, we're gone. When the other states meet, how do they all secede? In conventions. In the exact manner that they ratified the Constitution, which is in conventions of the states. They had conventions and they unratified. Now, anyone that says that this is illegal is a crank and is a moron. Because if you had the power to convene a convention and you're not in the Union in 1788 and debate ratification and then ratify basically a giant treaty, which is what the Constitution is, a compact. If you had the power, the sovereign power to ratify, and you obviously have the sovereign power to unratify. Anyone that has the power to enter into an agreement has the power to leave it, especially if there's a material breach. And in this case, there was a material breach. And the SCOTUS decision the other day is a massive material breach. You're not going to have a Republican form of government any longer. You're going to have a form of government that's going to be determined by how many illegal alien criminal trespassers can sneak into your state, pop a kid out, and claim and claim citizenship and residence, and then bring with them all of their political espionage and or cultural and political espionage. People aren't looking at this correctly. This is like this date is as big as the date that set it in motion, July 4th, 1776.
I bet you'll be the only one in talk radio that's even bringing this angle up, because you're looking at, hey, what can states do? Give solutions. Okay, state could say, you know what, we're not doing that anymore. Bye-bye. Or you can bring this back to the states, because the states used to handle. That was the original intent. The states would handle this, and they could kick out whoever they want. They want to make English the language of the state. They can do that tomorrow.
Yep.
And that would make it very uncomfortable for anybody to come in after that. They want to do X, Y, Z. It's kind of like the rest of the group, the rest of the SCOTUS things. They were so schizophrenic. I mean, they went after Hawaii. So they incorporated 2A again. They attacked state rights, but they didn't do it for the election for the write-in. So they were like, no state rights, back to state rights. They were all over the place. And then this one is pretty much they went after Trump on the EO that he had no authority to do anyways. So nothing happened. I don't have my tinfoil. Where is it? My tinfoil hat mindset on this is, he wanted this to happen. He knew it was going to happen. He knew that the result was going to happen, just so they can use as a marketing tool to bring in the SAVE Act, which will have digital ID all over that blasted thing. Kind of like that Kids Act thing that they're trying to ram through right now. It's nice. It's good for the kids, but we have to pretty much put our digital driver's license into that thing? Oh, okay. Yeah, we see where you're working on it.
Okay, wait a minute. Did I just hear Steve Cunningham of Sensus Fidelium with us on our StreamYard Maker Highline? Did I just hear you say that my theory that I espoused earlier is correct? That Trump did that executive order knowing that the SCOTUS was going to nuke it and was going to implement birthright citizenship so they could get the SAVE Act?
He was probably doing it, Mr. Burns. Excellent in the background.
Excellent, Smithers. I'll foil them with their own foil. We need to talk about gold. All right. Let me refresh the El Pagi here. The ticker says 8,212, so I am unsuccessful in moving the needle. I can't get anyone to do anything this morning. They're all telling me to go pound sand. This is worth $728 this morning. That's 1 troy pound of silver. If you come in second, if you're the second place ticket, you're going to win this. Is this not worth a $50 investment? And again, I find myself in the position of going like, why? Why is it, Maggie and I were talking about this yesterday, and I think that it is precisely because people do not associate this with being money anymore. And they think that anyone that has it is a criminal, or you stole it, or you robbed Fort Knox or whatever, and they just don't believe. Like Maggie's niece was like, what would I do with gold coins? And her grandmother says, spend them. like you do everything else, or hoard it hoard it like you do everything else. Why would I do that? Because it retains its value. So this is a smart college graduate, 25-year-old that does not understand silver and gold coinage and doesn't understand the worth of silver and gold. So, here we are, 8,212 tickets in stock. We were thinking today we'd have 1,212 tickets in stock, and it'd be a mad rush for people to go out and please take my money. I want a chance to win that gold and support you guys. But here we are, and it's not the scenario. So we're Jeremiah outside the walls.
I saw my anti-Catholic atheistic friend who bought some gold right off the bat because he goes, "This is awesome. This is incredible. This is what how's no one else buying this?" I'm like, indeed. You have more faith in other people than I do, I guess. Well,
you have a mailing list of 2,500. I have a Substack of 5,800. I have a mailing list of 5,100. And you have told them, and I have pleaded with all of them. So between it's almost 10,000 people. So that means that 8,000, that 75% of all human beings that have heard about this magnificent opportunity, plus it's a great chance to do a little make a little charitable donation. 80% of people that have been presented with the opportunity going, have done the flipper, have done the no. Hang on, can you hang on? I got to take a break. All right, we'll be right back, folks. WinApoundOfGold.com. Make us proud when we come back with that number.
I think I'll go to sleep and dream about piles of gold getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Here's a piles and piles of gold fun fact. When the Trump administration began, an ounce of gold cost $2,750. At the 17-month mark, with his Iran war and MAGA inflation, it's at $4,500. Now, we don't know where the $1,750 price difference went, but we do know that Mike Church has 1 troy pound of gold in his safe, and that he's going to give it away on July 2nd. And even if you're a neocon in MAGA clothing, you can still win it.
Win Mike Church's Pound of Gold. Tickets on sale now exclusively at winapoundofgold.com. Reposting Laura Loomer lies forgiven. Pardons sold separately.
The Crusade Channel and the slaves of the Immaculate Heart of Mary's Sisters present the Saint of the Day.
Hello, Crusaders. This is Sister Maria Jeremiah with your Saint of the Day. Today is July 2nd, the feast of the Visitation of Our Lady. As soon as Mary, the spouse of St. Joseph, had learned from an angel that, as she had conceived a child virginally, so Elizabeth, her cousin, had conceived one miraculously, she made haste to go and visit Elizabeth. In this journey, what lessons of humility does the Holy Virgin give us? She had just been saluted Mother of God and exalted above all mere creatures, even the highest seraphim of heaven, yet far from being elated with thoughts of her incomprehensible dignity, she appears but the more humble by it. She prevents the Mother of the Baptist in this office of charity. The Mother of God pays a visit to the mother of her Son's servant. The Redeemer of the world goes to his precursor. What a subject of confusion is this to the pride of the children of the world. Mary arrived at the house of Zachary and Elizabeth at Ein Karim, a little town southwest of Jerusalem. When she entered, she saluted Elizabeth. What a blessing did the presence of the God-man bring to this house, the first which he honored in his humanity with his visit. But Mary is the instrument and means by which he imparts to his divine benediction to show us that she is a channel through which he delights to communicate to us his graces and to encourage us to ask them of him through her intercession. At the voice of the Mother of God, but by the power and grace of her divine Son, in her womb, Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Ghost, and the infant in her womb was sanctified, and miraculously anticipating the use of reason, knew by divine inspiration the mystery of the Incarnation, and who it was that came to visit him. From this knowledge he conceived so great, so extraordinary a joy as to leap and exult in the womb. Blessed Mother of God, Our Lady, pray for us. Thank you for joining us for this brief summary of the Visitation of Our Lady. Tomorrow's saint is Saint Leo II.
To access all of our Saint of the Day recordings as podcasts, head to crusadechannel.com/saints. You can learn more about our sisters and contribute to the building of our convent by visiting stphilomenaconvent.org. And until next time, God bless and Mary keep you.
Do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call. Because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at crazy low prices. They have access to great prices and discounts at over 500 different airlines. Plus 300,000 hotels and rental car companies. Their prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find the best price for you. Call SmartFares today and get ready to see the world with a fat wallet.
800-313-7757. 800-313-7757. 800-313-7757. That's 800-313-7757.
We don't know where the Ark of the Covenant is, but we do know that Mike Church will give you a chance to win his pound of gold. And all you have to do is listen for the golden sound of the day, weekday mornings at 6 a.m. on The Mike Church Show at MikeChurchShow.com and on YouTube at Real King Dude.
The research department of The Mike Church Show has learned that most people listen to this show because you want your truth neat, straight up, and never watered down.
Hey, look, mister. We serve hard drinks in here for men who want to get drunk fast, and we don't need any characters around to give the joint atmosphere. Is that clear?
And the best part about taking in 100 proof truth is you can drive at the same time. And you'll never get a hangover.
I'm so wasted!
The bar at the Mike Church Show opens every weekday morning at 8 a.m. exclusively on the Veritas Radio Network's Crusade.
Moving forwards, using all my breath. Making love to you was never second best. I saw the world crashing all around your face. Never really knowing it was always mesh and lace. I'll stop the world and melt with you.
better lives, the kind which never hates. Trapped in a state of imaginary grace. I made a building.
Radio equivalent of the last blockbuster movie rental store. Mike Church Show stands in defiance of the demonic world of digital streaming, boredom, and podcasts. We do it the old-fashioned way. We do it live. Here on the Ethics and Broadcasting Network, which is pleading, begging, and asking for all of your support today. Go to winapoundofgold.com and buy a chance to win my pound of gold or my pound of silver. Real silver, Eddie. Yep, nothing but the best, Clark. Real silver. Yeah, it always tastes fine just without the silver metal in it. That's real silver right there. Somebody is going to win. These are the actual coins that I'm going to send, and I'm going to put into a little coin holder, and that I'm actually going to mail to one of you. 12 of those. These I got from the Northwest. Where do you get your silver from? I got these from the Northwest Territory Mint. See that? This is the Silver Eagle on this side, and then what an irony! It has the scales of justice on the other side. What scales of justice? What country is that? It sure as hell isn't this one. Winapoundofgold.com. Before here, I want you to hear this, Cunningham. Maggie, play digital media file number 5. So did Trump do the executive order intentionally, knowing that SCOTUS was going to make legal the absolute suicidal stupidity of this thing called birthright citizenship so that he could get the SAVE Act and Real ID and whatever else passed? Well, listen to this. Does it sound like he's even concerned about it? Watch this.
But we'll take care of the birthright citizenship because that was not meant for rich people from other countries. It was meant for, actually, it was meant for the babies of slaves. If you look at it, it was a month after the Civil War ended that it went through.
Slaves.
That's because it was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for rich people from China. They came over in Gulf Streams. It was meant for the babies of slaves. So I believe, no, I know they got it wrong, but that's okay because they gave us something that nobody thought. But they also gave...
They gave us something that nobody thought, but they also gave us... And then I don't have the rest of the soundbite. What in the hell is he... First of all, who said rich people in Gulfstream jets are coming over here? Did I miss something?
I missed something.
I must have missed something.
Maybe Teddy told him that. I mean, right before that, he was talking to Teddy Roosevelt AI and literally having a convo with him. I'm honored to be in your presence, dear Terminator.
No, he was talking to the ghost of Robin Williams from Night at the Museum. Is who he was talking to.
Yes. Talking about a threesome with his kids and something else going. I don't know what I don't get it, man. I don't know if he just starts going and he just likes the sound of his voice, which I think he does, and I don't know if he even believes what he says half the time.
He said yesterday, and this is in Medora, North Dakota. By the way, winapoundofgold.com. There's how many people you and I convinced in the last segment to go get a ticket?
0.0.
Last day, folks, last chance, and I thought that there was going to be a jailbreak to the ticket window today, not only to save the Republic, the free world, from horrible, bad, terrible, predictable broadcasting that's not ethical, but for the chance to win 48 grand in gold. I don't know, folks. I don't know if I want to come back next week and serve you people. I don't know if I want to talk to you anymore. I'm only going to talk to the people that bought tickets, and I'm going to find out your names.
I'm rooting for Colleen. I got a Colleen cheerleading section in the background over here. I'm rooting for her to win this.
Well, somebody bought you 20 tickets, so you actually have a chance to win. And of course, if you do, it's going to this is rigged. This is rigged. All right, I want to go back to what Trump was saying here and about this birthright. I don't even think that the term. I think that the terminology is wrong because if this was English law, the English people were smart back then, and they spoke pretty good Latin, and they would have called it what it is, jus soli, there's law of the soil, and they would not have used the terminology that we're using. They would have used the terminology subject, not citizen. See, the whole thing is cocked. They would have said, you were born here in His Majesty's Empire, the British Empire, the sun never sets on the British Empire. You are one of his subjects. You are not a citizen. You're a subject, meaning you're subject to taxation. You're subject to conscription. You're subject to law, rule, and regulation. You're subject to. That's a different thing from citizen and citizenship. So, right. and the founders, on this day in 1776, I can tell you, because I read all the transcripts of the Journal of the Congress. I read everything that was said in that entire 2 months in there. And I can
made a movie of it.
And I made a couple of movies about it, but I can tell you that they did not want to imitate the English form of government in almost any of its machinations, and certainly not in a way it what it called people. It didn't call them citizens; it called them subjects. And just like when I was, John Roberts cited Bernard Bailyn in his story, and I'm like, what? Bernard Bailyn wouldn't have written, and he didn't write that. So I went and got the Bailyn quote, and I read it to the audience yesterday. And Bailyn says the exact opposite. Bailyn says that the founders were horrified of jus soli, and that they were terrified that if they got away with treason, basically, that if they got away with it, that the English, now that this is the United States, the English would just, we'll just send Englishmen over there and claim birthright citizenship, and then we'll just take back over with the loyalists. And this was a real concern because they actually talked about this. And so there is no way, like in Smokey and the Bandit, there's no way you came from my loins. Well, there's no way that they would have allowed someone that came from English loins to become a citizen because they were born here. And it just... Yeah. So what are you going to do about this? So what are we going to do?
It's just common sense. Was it like a French king comes over here and they have a baby in Baltimore? It doesn't make the baby a U.S. citizen. It's like if we go over there, it doesn't mean that, hey, little John, you're now a French citizen because you were born in Paris. But you lived here and you never stepped foot in Paris ever. But what? It doesn't make any sense unless you spin it and create some kind of new, which they've done that with pretty much everything. I mean, like you said, the 14th, that's where I got I learned about the Miracle Amendment from this show going, the 14th, what is about the 14th? Everyone uses this 14th for everything. And it's, you get it for Obergefell, you get it for Roe, you get it for just slamming the head over anything that they come out with, and we just take it. But the state's got to figure out
the first one, Miranda. Did you know that Miranda was killed in a knife fight in a bar?
I think I remember you were saying that long. If there was like Star Wars with the line that was coming out from a long time ago. Mike's been talking about this for, when he says 30 years, he literally means it. He's been doing this for 30 years.
The ACLU gets him out of prison. This ridiculous notion of due process. They get him out of prison, and he's still the criminal that he was, and he goes and he tries to pick up on some dude's wife at a bar. And the dude's like, the dude pulls a Leonard Skinner, give me 3 steps. Except he didn't give him 3 steps. and he stabbed Miranda, and Shake on. All right, I now have. Okay, so this is the piece, one by David Lawrence that you were talking about that you sent me during the timeout. I just want to go through one part of the 14th Amendment so listeners out there can be clear on this. W.E. Woodward, in his famous work, A New American History, published in 1936. Well, let me send this to Maggie because she's going to be going, you didn't give it to me. Hold on. Because she's so busy answering the phones over there, taking all your ticket orders.
She's building the doghouse.
This is where I'm going to be tonight because of all of you that refuse to buy Golden True tickets. This right here, this is where I'm going to be. Right here with Buckshot, me and him. Roomies.
You can hear the evil laughing.
Roomies. Me and Buckshot. Roomies. Thanks to all of you. W.E. Woodward, in his famous work, A New American History, published in 1936, says, to get a clear idea of the succession of events, let us review President Andrew Johnson's actions in respect to the ex-Confederate states. Okay, I don't want everyone to know this. You know, if you really want to push this issue, that means that Louisiana is still independent. Because it could not have ratified the 14th Amendment. It could not have ratified the 13th because it wasn't a state. Could not have ratified the 15th, maybe. No, the 15th either. Couldn't have ratified the 17th either. Could not have voted to ratify the 16th, 17th. So any Confederate state, any amendment after 1861 basically is null and void in every Confederate state, and we should start treating it like that. Income tax, never heard of it. Yeah. Direct election of senators, never heard of it. Our legislature chooses them. Equal Rights Amendment, never heard of. 25th Amendment, man, who cares? Name your amendment afterwards. You think about this properly. The southern states are so independent. All right, having said that, Andrew Johnson's actions in respect to the ex-Confederate states. In May 1865, he issued a proclamation of amnesty to former rebels. Then he established provisional governments in all the southern states. They were instructed to call constitutional conventions. They did. New state governments were elected. White men only had the suffrage. The 15th Amendment had the suffrage. The 15th Amendment establishing equal voting rights had not yet been passed. Senators and representatives were chosen, but when they appeared at the opening of Congress, they were refused admission. The state governments, however, continued to function during 1866. Now we are in 1867. In the early days of that year, Thaddeus Stevens brought in, as chairman of the House of Reconstruction Committee, a bill that proposed to sweep all the southern state governments into the wastebasket. The South was to be put under military rule. The bill passed. It was vetoed by Johnson and passed again over his veto. In the Senate, it was amended in such fashion that any state could escape from military rule and be restored to its full rights by ratifying the 14th Amendment and admitting black as well as white men to the polls. In challenging its constitutionality, Andrew Johnson said in his veto message, quote, I submit to Congress whether this measure is not in its whole character, scope, and object without precedent and without authority, in palpable conflict with the plainest provisions of the Constitution, and utterly destructive of those great principles of liberty and humanity for which our ancestors on both sides of the Atlantic have shed so much blood and expended so much treasure. Many historians have applauded Johnson's words. Samuel Eliot Morrison and Henry Steele Commager, known today as liberals, wrote in their book, The Growth of the American Republic, Johnson returned the bill with a scolding message arguing the unconstitutionality of the whole thing. And most impartial students have agreed with his reasoning. Well, you know, Steve, how they thanked Andrew Johnson. They impeached him.
Huh?
The result of Johnson's veto was he got impeached.
Yeah.
But of course, he was acquitted in his trial. And in the Senate, he was acquitted. The Senate did not have the evidence to vote to convict him and expel him. But what you just heard here is, so these radical Republicans then, the ones that were told, don't be a rhino, be like them. Really? These radical Republicans voted for martial law in the 13 Confederate states and were ready to send armies. As a matter of fact, here in Louisiana, they did. They did. They sent the Union Army here to enforce its edicts and to enforce Reconstruction and force Reconstruction here on the state of Louisiana. This is a part of history that no one knows and no one wants to talk about.
Oh, starve the people to death, genocide in a sense. I mean, there's some horror stories here. The Union League. I never even heard of the Union League until the Reconstruction book. I mean, that blew me away. I mean, here you got a terrorist group that came down here, and like in North Carolina, in Gaston County where I'm at, they burned down 4 barns. And people might be going like, 4 barns, what's the big deal? Well, that's where they had their seeds, their hose, everything they could do to live with. So basically you were making them starve to death.
Now, I want to switch subjects here. By the way, while y'all are all getting this magnificent history lesson, you could thank us by putting $50 in the tip jar at winapoundofgold.com, and you might win like $48,000 in return and save the free world. I'm not saying.
It's a solid
I'm just
ROI.
Saying. Yeah. It's a real good ROI. So, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot here, but you're probably going to cover this on Clown Planet anyway. So the SSPX goes through with their ordinations yesterday. Ben Shapiro's Catholic mouthpiece, Cheese Dale, is the first one to pounce on the thing and to pronounce the Great Schism of 2026. And that Eric Sammons of Crisis Magazine says, pray for reparations for this atrocity. I'm like, atrocity? Look, I'm not an SSPXer. I have been to an SSPX Mass. I know SSPXers, and I treat them with the same love and charity that I treat an FSSPer or a Novus Ordo. Oh, you're Catholic. Hey, that's great. That's what I say. Oh, you're Catholic. Hey, that's great. Do you think the Vatican is going, the Holy Father is actually going to like apostolic letter try to enforce something or do something to the newly consecrated bishops, to the executor, or to the what do they call them? The something general, the pastoral. What's it? The leader of the SSPX? Because he has the title.
Yeah, the superior general.
At the superior general. And then what about the laity? You and I know a lot of the laity. So, what say you?
I got a priest friend out there. He says that. He goes, I just saw the document on Rome. It's as clear as day. And he says, schismatic and excommunicated. And he goes, now let's see all the runarounds. And the priest that just wrote me that an hour ago, he does both rites. He does trad rite and he does the Ukrainian rite. And I mean, I really didn't keep up with it until yesterday because you couldn't miss it yesterday. It was right in your face. I mean, you go to 7-Eleven and somebody slapped you with the SSPX stuff in there. I mean, okay, not probably to that level, but you get it. I mean, I enjoyed going in the garden yesterday because I didn't have to see any of that. There was some weird stuff going on. I mean, like Marshall brought up about the apostolic mandate that they apparently read during it and going, wait a minute, he didn't call him lying about it. I would call it that's lying. I mean, if you or me say, hey, I got a letter from Trump, I'm going to read it,
right?
And that's not from Trump, or that's not from wherever you get the letter from, and you just make it up. I mean, that's kind of what the deceitful, aka lying. So, did they lie during the liturgy? Literally during the liturgy, make it up. And then obviously the auxiliary bishop thing, which the definition of auxiliary bishop is like Bishop Snyder. He's got the auxiliary bishop of Kazakhstan, I think it is. So he has a territory to quote unquote run. So they don't have any territory, but they can go into any diocese anytime without permission. That's a cardinal. Mm-hmm. So did they ordain cardinals yesterday with that power? I have no idea how they pull that off. And then they did a oath to Leo, which I have no problem with it. When I think Bishop Barron, and then there was a Florida group that okayed, he's like, we're accepting you guys. Hey, that's what we want. That's exactly what we. Now, both sides, yes, both sides had some problems in it. The Vatican and the bishops, yes, could have been much opener months ago. The letter that came out the other day with to the society that said, please don't do it. I get that it was probably like it was 24 hours earlier. My thing is the society couldn't do anything anyways because the party invitations are out. They couldn't stop it because their people probably would have just
revolted,
rough shock on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, well, we have to go. We have to do this horrific deed anyway because we already got the party out, the bride's at the gate. Yeah, we got it. We just got to go, even though this was a terrible idea. Now that we want to sit down, they couldn't do anything anyways. Well, they could have, but they would have gotten blowback from their own people.
Think of the situation here in the Diocese of New Orleans, where Archbishop Gregory Amond, about 6-7 years ago, wrote a letter to the SSPX and gave them faculties to marry people, to baptize people, right, in his diocese. So, does that all that has to now be revisited? Does Archbishop Cecchio here in New Orleans now have to send a letter to St. Michael's in Lacombe and say, "Hey, I got to revoke your faculties, bro"?
Yeah, they kind of do it. It's automatic in the sense that they did the deed that when this happens, it pretty much just takes everything out. They got to go back to square one, and they have to go to the Pope. It's not like they can just go to anybody else and get asked for permission on it.
Right.
All right. What was that line from Memphis Belle?
That's all the time we have. Folks, winapoundofgold.com. We'll be right back.
Crusade Channel, your talk podcast and Fiorella File station.
Fiorella is the literary savage who skips sensitivity training. She is the librarian who reads and reviews books so you don't have to.
Hello and welcome to the Fiorella Files. On my show, I will be introducing you to books, classic and contemporary, that you must read, should enjoy reading, or should not touch with an 11-foot barge pole.
10 to 11 a.m. Central, every Monday on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on crusadechannel.com. Live talk and podcast radio.
The way it should be.
Hi, folks, it's Mike Church, founder of Founding Father Films, asking you to learn the true stories of America's founding by purchasing my movie, The Road to Independence, the movie. The Road to Independence tells the exciting story of the Founding Fathers' struggle to declare independence.
Resolved that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is, and ought to be, totally dissolved.
This animated movie comes complete with collector's booklets, DTS surround sound, and are packed with hours of bonus features. Learn the true stories of America's founding and order Mike Church's The Road to Independence on DVD and CD. Available now at mikechurch.com/DVD and by calling 844-527-8723.
You're listening to the Crusade Channel, a Black Hat Studios media property. Broadcasting live 24/7 from Madisonville, Louisiana, and to the world via crusadechannel.com. This June, the Mike Church Show will give away the most incredible prize in broadcast history and change the way the world thinks about talk media and talk media hosts forever. Mike Church Show News. News you can trust.
Because let's face it, the truth just sounds different, like a symphony of facts.
And now, here's Janet Huxley.
Hello, Red, White, and Dude Nation. Welcome to Thursday, July the 2nd, 2026. I'm Janet Huxley at the Mike Church Show News Desk, live from the ranch in Kansas City. This report is brought to you by the Golden Truth Ticket Sweepstakes. Get your Gold Fruit tickets today at winapoundofgold.com. Here's what to listen for this hour. Watchdog unveils action plan to curb product integrity of U.S. citizenship after Supreme Court ruling. DOJ says 11 migrants indicted in multi-state sex trafficking drug firearms sting. National Weather Service warns of dangerous heat across much of the U.S. ahead of the 4th of July. The city of Columbus, Ohio faces backlash for raising the Somali flag. And 2 people taken into custody after climbing to the top of the Empire State Building with massive banner. A top government watchdog group released a multi-point plan to protect the homeland and the integrity of U.S. citizenship after the Supreme Court's 6-3 ruling affirming birthright citizenship as enshrined in federal law. Conservatives across the country criticized Chief Justice John Roberts, Associate Justices Amy Coney Barrett and Brett Kavanaugh, along with the court's 3 liberal justices, arguing that the ruling opens the door to citizenship for children born to foreign nationals illegally present in the U.S. and dilutes American citizenship. The Oversight Project shared its Keeping Families Together plan with Fox News, arguing the ruling did not grant legal status to the parents of so-called anchor babies, a premise central to its proposal. Federal prosecutors have charged 11 Venezuelan and Colombian nationals, 10 of whom the DOJ says are currently unlawfully present in the U.S., in a sweeping multi-state criminal case alleging the defendants trafficked a minor and an adult woman for sex while also dealing drugs and illegally trafficking firearms. 10 of the defendants were arrested Tuesday during coordinated law enforcement operations in Ohio, Tennessee, North Carolina, and Florida. 1 is still at large, and prosecutors say 10 of the 11 defendants are currently in the U.S. illegally. The National Weather Service has warned that high heat is building across the central and eastern U.S. and that high temperatures are expected through the weekend. NWS forecasters said in a July 1st update they see dangerous heat in much of the country on July the 1st and in the coming days. A highly amplified upper-level ridge over central and eastern U.S. will bring a dangerous heat wave through the weekend, they said. Some 46 million people were under extreme heat warnings, watches, and advisories as of yesterday, down from more than 62 million the day before. Our quote of the day: "You will accomplish more by kind words and a courteous manner than by anger or sharp rebuke, which should never be used except in necessity." St. Angela Merici. Coming up, a look at more headlines. You're listening to The Mike Church Show and the Red, White, and Dude Nation.
Membership has its privileges.
American Express was right back in the 1970s. Membership has its privileges, and no membership privilege is greater to our Red, White, and Dude Nation listener than membership in the elite membership club that is the Dude Number. Here's Lee to tell you how to get yours.
That's right, King Dude. Membership does have its privileges. And when it comes to the Dude Number, applying for membership has never been easier. Just head to mikechurch.com/dude to start the membership process. Your unique and one-of-a-kind membership and all the privileges that come with it awaits you. As a member, you'll enjoy private chat groups, VIP privileges to all Mike Church Show events, early access to new Dude-geared store items, and of course, your unique Dude Number.
Dude 1210 reporting all quiet on the Eastern Front.
This is Mike's favorite punching bag, Dude number 13.
Hi, this is Steve. My Dude number is 2112.
Dude number 2004, proud member of the Red, White, and Dude Nation, reporting for duty.
Become a part of something bigger than any talk show there is and apply for your Dude Number today at mikechurch.com/dude.
Membership has its privileges.
You can learn all about today's Saint of the Day in the Saint of the Day podcast, From the Slaves to the Immaculate Heart Sisters. Just listen or download at crusadechannel.com/saint. Now look at more headlines. The city of Columbus, Ohio, home to one of the largest Somali populations in the U.S., is facing backlash on social media over a now deleted post celebrating the raising of the Somali flag. Happy Somali Independence Day, the Columbus Recreation and Parks Department posted on X on Wednesday. As we celebrate the unification of the Trust Territory of Somaliland and the state of Somaliland into the Somali Republic in 1960, City Hall will be raising the flag of Somalia. The post was quickly picked up by conservatives on social media, with many wondering why on earth the city of Columbus would celebrate Somali independence so strongly, particularly given the proximity to the 250th anniversary of American independence. Two masked people climbed on top of the Empire State Building at noon on Wednesday holding a banner reading, "When the power of love beats the love of power, the world knows peace." Following a response by the New York City Police Department Emergency Services Unit, who climbed up to meet them, the pair, who later identified themselves on social media as Netflix stars Angela Nicolau and Yvonne Burkus, appeared to take down the banner and climb down from the antenna to a lower platform. Burkus then appeared to pull an engagement ring out of a backpack, get down on one knee, and propose to Nicolau. The couple was later taken into custody and charges are pending, and NYPD officials told Fox it remains unclear how they were able to scale the building. The pair were previously featured on Netflix's Skywalker's A Love Story. I'm Janet Huxley for the Mike Church Show and the Red, White, and Dude Nation, because ethics in broadcasting matters.
I think I'll go to sleep and dream about piles of gold getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Here's a piles and piles of gold fun fact. When making Raiders, Spielberg chose the Golden Ark of the Covenant because he knew audiences wouldn't go, ooh, ah, if Nazis stole a parchment scroll containing a psalm. Now, we don't know where the lost Ark is, but we do know that Mike Church has 1 troy pound of gold in his safe, and that he's going to give it away on July 2nd, and you don't have to say, ooh, ah, to win it.
Win Mike Church's Pound of Gold. Tickets on sale now exclusively at winapoundofgold.com. Ark of the Covenant sold separately.
All right, let's go to the Golden Truth Ticket Hotline and see who we have here. Caller number 4. Who is this caller number 4?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mike. This is Phil, your displaced Cajun brother.
Philip Thoreau. Philip, what will you do with that big pile of shimmering 24-karat gold coins if you win it?
I was thinking about swimming through it like Scrooge McDuck, but...
Well, no, really. Outside of that, what would you do?
I'm generally going to keep as much of it as I can, probably unload a few to pay some bills and spread around the wealth a little bit.
Man, you could buy some mag tires for that truck of yours, mag rims.
That's already set up. That's the company's. I got to buy some for my crappy pickup truck I just bought.
Well, there you go. Well, Philip, thanks for playing the Golden True Ticket Contest game, and you've got 2 tickets now, so 2 chances to win. Beautiful. Okay, brother, it's always great to hear from a longtime listener, Philip. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. Folks, you can be next here. Listen tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. when I play the Golden Truth Ticket soundbite of the day. Be the appropriate number caller when you hear that soundbite played back, and you win a Golden Truth Ticket. Know the prize, secret prize. Know the secret prize word of the day, and you win two Golden Truth Tickets here. But you don't have to wait for that. You can get your tickets right now at winapoundofgold.com.
Hey, Mrs. McGillicuddy, don't be a satellite radio snob and pass by the Mike Church Show. Come on in and browse.
May I help you?
Oh, no thanks. Just browsing.
How long do you intend to browse?
Well, that lady there. You didn't ask her how long she intends to browse. How come you're asking us how long we intend to browse?
You don't look like browsers.
Now that that's over,
How about a Fresca?
the Mike Church Show, entertaining browsers and fans since 1992 on the Veritas Radio Network's Crusade.
The word is about, there's something evolving. Whatever may come, the world keeps revolving. They say the next big thing is here, that the revolution's near. But to me it seems quite clear that it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
Doing daily combat against AI and the synthesis of all tyrannies. I am the Generalissimo of the Airborne 1776. leading combat on land, sea, and on air. The Mike Church Show, 35 years young here on the Ethics and Broadcasting Network. Your home for the 2026 Win a Pound of Gold raffle drawing. That will happen tomorrow. The radio contest is over, but the raffle drawing is tomorrow, so you still got a shot to go get a ticket. And boy, you have great odds. So let me do the top of the hour refresh of the amount of tickets. So when last we left our intrepid band of gold hucksters, there were 8,210 tickets out of 10,000 remaining. And now we update the total. Whoa, 8,167. Hey, we moved the needle. You don't hate us. So 167 to get to 8,000 and 50 minutes to do it. And you're just the kind of people that can do it. The call-in line telephone number is 844-527-8723. Everyone has an opinion on this. So Steve Cunningham of Sensus Fidelium is our media partner and has won a pound of gold contest. I was on the Dude Maker hotline with us. So, Steve, during the timeout, I went in. I was kind of puzzled as to what you were saying about what Taylor Marshall had said. So I went and found it, and now I see that apparently during the liturgy yesterday, the consecrations of the now excommunicated bishops, there was a letter that was read and made to look all official and stuff because it was on parchment paper with a wax seal that they had to break, and then it had a red ribbon at the top. And trying to make it as though that somehow the Vatican or the Holy Father had sent some seal of approval to the ordination process. And that is now, look, I'm just calling balls and strikes here. Don't shoot the messenger, you people. And apparently that is not what was on that document. There was no permission because I have the English. Well, I have the Italian version and the English version from the sezione disciplinario, the disciplinary section, and the sezione doctrino, the section of doctrine from those two in Rome, saying that I'll just read it to you. 1. The 4 new SSPX bishops, along with the 2 SSPX bishops who consecrated them, are excommunicated. 2. All SSPX priests are declared, quote, in schism and must therefore be considered schismatics, close quote. 3. All lay faithful, quote, who formerly adhere to the priestly fraternity of St. Pius X are to be considered schismatics and excommunicated. I mean, this is heavy, dude. Close quote. 4. SSPX confessions and marriages are declared invalid. Now, I assume that means if there's a marriage today, not if you were married by, as my friend's daughter was married by the SSPX this year. Going forward. So this is the Vatican's response to the consecration of the bishops yesterday. And, of course, now you're going to have a giant war. So but the end result is the Catholic Church just got like 1.2 million people smaller. And the Catholic Church finds itself with an internecine feud that has now turned into an internecine war. And are we at 1214? Is this the break with the Eastern Orthodox? Does the SSPX stay in defiance? I can tell you the ones that I know are probably going to remain defiant, if that's the word you want to use. And I'm not trying, please do not misunderstand. This is not me pronouncing on this. This is balls and strikes here. This is what's happening in real time. The Vatican says you're in defiance, and I say you're in defiance. I'm just repeating what they are saying. But again, none of this had to happen. The Novus Ordo, the new rite of Mass, never had to happen. A complete and total fabrication by a man, Paul VI, and by what many to believe, a council that was not convened to do so. So, you know, the sins and the horrors and the evil of the 1960s, Steve Cunningham, just won't leave us alone.
And the way you're doing the umpire way, that's the best and really the only way you can look at this. You have to take emotion out, step back, detach, as Jocko would say, and look as better guide than reason. The book Better Guide Than Reason. Everyone uses emotion. No matter if you're Catholic, trad, or Novus Ordo Catholic, or you in secular ways, everyone just uses emotion. The knee-jerk first reaction, right there. I mean, our friends at the Transalpine Redemptorists, they did. I mean, they broke away about a couple months ago, and there's about 5 or 6 that left them so that they could stay united at church. Which in '88, that's what happened. That's how the fraternity got started. The guys broke away, Father Bissick and others. So there'll be guys there'll be priests that will pray like, hey, you know what? I don't like this idea. It's like that one bishop I can't remember, was it New York, I think it was, that opened up his arms. Hey, any of you guys want to come over? I'll help you out. He's a friendly. We don't have. It's not like we throw all the bishops in under the bus on there too. Say yes, there are bad ones. It's like I did a Substack on the crisis of the church, the book by by Monsignor Philip Hughes. People use the thing. There's a crisis in the church. There's always been a crisis in the church.
Always.
Since it started, there's been crisis in the church.
March the 26th, 33 A.D., there was a crisis.
Yeah.
St. Stephen was stoned in the first year. That's the bishop that was killed was murdered in year 1 of Christianity. Crisis.
Yeah, and that's not including the Arians, the Donatists, the Jansenists, and everybody in between and out and after, before and after. I mean, Dr. Finister and I went for this during the Rona days. I asked him, hey, you want to do something on Philip Hughes' book? And he's like, oh, yeah, I teach that class. I think we'd do one. We did 16.
Wow.
And it was like 2 hours each. I mean, the first hour and 58 minutes are the problems that were leading up to the council, and the last 5 minutes are about the council.
and these are all on Sensus Fidelium?
Yeah. They're on. I got a playlist up. I put a Substack up yesterday. I'll put it on the website. And Dr. Finister is just. I mean, he's straight off the boat from England. He's been teaching. He's been teaching church history for years and years. He's as trad as anyone else comes. He does both rights, just like Arrington and others like Greg DePippo and others like that. They know their stuff. And I mean, I just sat back and just, wow, you don't even hear me. He just goes. And I'll laugh every so often because he'll say something like, man, I'd never heard something like that.
Well,
What's really going on?
You know,
it's just amazing the amount of nuttery that was going on at every time period.
Well, you know, Steve Cunningham, Sensus Fidelium, my old longtime friend and the brother of an FSSP priest. So you actually are very close to the fraternity, as am I. I mean, I went to his ordination. I've been to the monastery, to the seminary. There is something to be said, though, and to be considered here. And I think, as Steve says, tap the brakes and take a step back. Remember, there are canonized saints that were basically either excommunicated or on the verge, or St. John of the Cross, for example, basically kicked out of his own order and then thrown into jail. But he remained disciplined. He remained like, no, I won't. I'm not going to leave. I won't defy the Holy Father or my bishop or whoever. Our beloved slaves to the Immaculate Heart in New Hampshire, with all they have been through with Bishop Loboski and with Father Dallaire, and the precepts against them have remained compliant. They say, they defend themselves, but they have said, okay, this is our ordinary, and we are subject to them. So, I'm just throwing this out here. No one can. There's not. You know who wins? Satan wins. At the end of the day, the demons are going to win. If we all remain at loggerheads and against one another. So disunity in the church is the smoke of Satan, as Paul VI rightfully called it back in the day. There are going to be a lot of people that are going to write about this, and you're going to hear an awful lot, and there's going to be a lot of opinions. But I'm going to tell you right now that whoever's idea it was to read from whatever was on that scroll, which wasn't on that scroll, in a liturgical form. Okay, so and again, I don't. We have somebody that says they know. To the telephones, Dr. Tom. First up here on the Mike Church Show here, your home for the 2026 Win a Pound of Gold raffle that's going to happen tomorrow. Radio contest is over. Raffle, you still get a ticket at winapoundofgold.com. That's $48,600 and change as of right now. So, Dr. Tom, you have some inside track?
Well, I just did a little search because I did any of my following of it didn't say that. Here's what the search said. Instead of a standard apostolic mandate required by canon law, the notary at the SSPX consecration read a declaration citing necessity and the duty to transmit the deposit of faith. The text stated, "It is the Catholic and Roman Church, always faithful to the traditions received from the apostles, who in entirely exceptional circumstances demands that we provide for the upholding of these traditions. That is the deposit of faith, and that we take the means necessary to transmit them faithfully to all men for the salvation of their souls." I don't know what Taylor Marshall said. They didn't read anything from Leo the 14th. It was a statement of necessity and the defending the deposit of faith. So that's calumny, if he's saying that.
Steve, did he actually?
What happened is that's an apostolic letter. It's a part of the thing that it's like a call, like you're called like ad sum when you're in an ordination. It's an official call from the bishop, or then in this case the Pope, and that's what the problem is. It's not just you reading a letter. You can't just be ordained without being called. So and then you don't get the okay to do the ordination without the permission to do it. So that's the whole point of that part. Is they could have left that out. And people have said that. Why even bring this up? Why even do it?
Because there's a state.
Why pretend to do it? That's the main thing. Because that letter, that's ordinary standard operation procedure. So you're supposed to have that come from Rome to the bishops to that.
Well, there's a statement of necessity. The modernists, the sodomites, the apostates, the heretics. I prefer to go with tradition than modernists. So that's the big issue.
That'd be a modernist position too, though. I mean, as Father Ripperger goes, we're all modernists because we're in the water. The fish, we're drinking it up. So there's trads that are modernists because we'll do things that aren't in tradition, but we'll think about it that it's in tradition. I mean everything from bowing to the priest, that's nowhere in tradition, to 40 other things that people have complained about, saying, there's a lot of people think they know tradition. That's why if he says, read Franzeli, that is on the, that Father has reprinted, gotten translated. It is the book of books on tradition, and most people haven't read that.
Franzeli, I haven't read it.
It is fantastic.
Yeah. I want it. Well, I wanted to compliment you, Steve, on your app. That I convinced my brother, and I haven't heard you talk about it much, but you have a Sensus Fidelium app, right? Isn't that right?
Or you're going to be hearing a lot about it from me. Don't worry.
And I just wanted to say I bought 50 more tickets this morning to support the cause, and I just want to be a faithful Catholic, and pretty much.
Doc, I think that that's everyone's statement, and the church isn't doing herself any favors by allowing. Pope Leo could have ended almost all of this. Cardinal Burke met with him and assured all of us that he listened to about ending the fake schism, or the not the de jure, the de facto schism, if you will, twixt tradies and Latin Mass attendees and everyone else. Cardinal Burke, Dr. Tom, you heard me read it. I read the letter on air. And the Cardinal said, I think he's going to do it. I told him that he needs to heal this divide. And I have every assurance, please pray for him, and we all have been, that he's going to do it. And he allowed this to happen. I think he's like Trump at this point. He's probably getting horrible advice from the Velvet Mafia, the Lavender Mafia that's there, and the holdovers from the 60s are telling him, no, don't heal the thing with those people, because he seems to me to be, he's Clark Kent. He's Pope Clark Kent. He's as mild-mannered as they come. I can't even imagine the man standing up and doing the wave at a Cubs game. Although they said that he did, so but Doc, it's lamentable, and I know you lament it, and I know we're all lamenting it. No one wanted this to happen. Nobody wanted this to happen. So
if anybody did, there's a problem with them on that. I mean, people come at me all the time saying this, Steve, you're not. I'm not. But I didn't want anything like this. I was like, please, I'm not looking at this 24/7, 365, and I didn't wake up looking at it. I didn't watch the whole 6 hours because I had better things to do. I saw it. It was like I was going to bed at 3 a.m. and I saw that it was live streaming. Yes, that's 3 a.m. because I'm working that late. And I was like, oh, they're doing it. I'm going to bed. And I slept fine. But I don't mean by like sleeping fine as in, I'm happy as a pig. No, it sucks, but I'm not going to let it affect my joy. And don't let any of this mess with your joy.
This is true. All right, Dr. Tom, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you. And good luck to you tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks, Doc.
Take care. God bless.
8,161 so remaining here. So 161 to get to the promised land of breaking the 8,000 barrier. And that would mean that 2,000 are gone. Actually, it'd be 7,900 because we reserved 100. We started with 9,900 in inventory. So winapoundofgold.com. And if you want Steve to sleep more, then go buy 100 tickets. If you want Steve to sleep more, then go buy. Here, take the 20,000. I challenge someone. Take my challenge. You got 20 grand.
I got a good 5 hours of sleep than last night.
You're gonna donate $20,000 to someone, some 501c3 this year. Well, I'm challenging you. Well, do it in July. Do it right now. Go to winapoundofgold.com. You want my IRS letter determination? Send me an email. I'll send it to you right now. I am King Dude at protonmail.com. So go buy those 400 tickets. Here, be a real hero. Go buy 500. And then I will bonus you 10% on top of that for nothing. Don't cost nothing. And then Steve, we will be into the part of the program where we can actually do some proceed sharing. So if you want Steve to get 6 hours of sleep, then go buy more Win a Pound of Gold tickets at winapoundofgold.com. All right, we only have a minute left. I don't know how this is going to play out, but it's like anything else. If 2026 has just stunk. You had the MAGA-sism. Now you have the SSPX schism, and I'm saying it in air finger quotation marks. Gosh, I hope the next 6 months. Well, Sister Maria Jeremiah today on our Saint of the Day did the Visitation of Our Lady. Okay, beautiful feast day, so be happy for that. Celebrate that. And she said, with the birth of St. John the Baptist, the days start getting shorter. And with the birth of our Lord, the days get longer. So, we're on the glide path to shorter days.
There's a lot to it. I mean, if we were zealous for this as we are for evangelization and being holy and being a saint and reading about the saints of the day, we would conquer the doggone planet.
Dude,
I mean, yesterday, Precious Blood was yesterday. Not too many people talked about it.
Let me just say to the audience, it's one of the joys that we get on a daily basis here. So what happens is I get the Saint of the Day as a recording, and I get it from the slaves, from the sisters, and they and it's very raw. Let me just put it to you like that. There are a lot of edit. there's a lot of, I didn't mean to say that. Mike, his sister Maria Filomena loves leaving me like notes, like we're children, like we're kids in school passing notes. Like, Mike, I'm not sure that this should be in there. I'll let you use your judgment. I'm just going to go ahead and read it anyway. But if you don't want to include it, it's okay. I'm okay with it. It is one of the great. It's one of the great joys, and no one would ever. You could not experience this. Of every morning, and it takes me about, you're an editor. It takes me about, I don't know, it's 20 minutes. Just depends. If it's one sister sends me 2 minutes, it'll take me 15 minutes total. That's tax, title, license, editing the whole thing, putting it in a session, mixing it down, making sure the sound sounds perfect, loading it up on the website so all of you can get the podcast version. 15 minutes. If I get one from Sister Maria Filomena and it's 13 minutes long, well, it's going to take 45 minutes, and then I have to make 2 versions. But
hold all my calls.
The thing that I take away from that, Steve, the joy in those sisters' lives. Nothing affects her. There's never I'm having a bad hair day or anything. It's just they're just like Candace and I just laughed out loud today when Sister Maria Jeremiah she went and then she went and then she giggled, and it was the cutest little giggle, and she's doing the hagiography of the Visitation of Our Lady. She's doing the hagiography. And it's one of those little things that you can't put a price tag on that, and the privilege that I have every day that the lights are on and that I can take the sisters' readings of the Saint of the Day and turn them into something that all of y'all, they're free. At crusadechannel.com. As a matter of fact, I'm going to work a deal out with that guy right there, and we're going to make sure that we get video versions of them on Sensus Fidelium. So this is a body of work that's for you, all of you guys, to be inspired by the lives of the saints. Man, I don't know anything else educationally that is more educational than reading or listening to the lives of the saints.
On that time, if you want to read something that you're going to go, well, my life is way better than what I thought. The Forgotten.
Ooh.
This is on the Russian Catholics, and it's called The Forgotten because they have been forgotten. Catholics in the Soviet Empire from Lenin to Stalin. You will read stories that will blow your mind. Priests getting stabbed. Just trust me, read it. It's and there's bishops out there that had problems like blessed there's a Saint Venerable Peter Oros. There's a church down the street, a Ruthenian church. They have liturgy for the last 5 years in a classroom. And this guy he was secretly ordained legally, because if they found out, he would be killed.
So they did this during the French Revolution.
Yeah.
Ironically, who brings this to an end? Napoleon. And there have been books, if you read what's the lady's name, Roth, who wrote one of the best biographies of Saint Jean-Marie Vianney, Mrs. Roth. Her biography starts, the first, I have it memorized, the first paragraph is, Jean-Marie, where are you going, Jean-Marie? Wait for me, Jean-Marie. And it's little Jean-Marie Vianney running through a field in pastoral France with his sister, and they're running because they heard that there was going to be a mass said in a barn, which was illegal. And they're running to go to the mass, and that's how the book starts about Saint Jean-Marie, the Curé d'Ars. Anytime you see a D apostrophe in French, that means of. Yeah. The Curé of Ars. And then you're hooked in the book, and then you read the whole book, and you go like, the dude tried to run away 3 times. Mm-hmm. He tried to escape those people in Ars. He's like, I'm leaving you. You people are driving me nuts.
I'm gone.
And talk about obedience. His bishop commanded him on the last one. He goes, I forbid you to leave. Mm-hmm. I forbid. You're not getting transferred. So
Louis de Montfort, he comes in he's walking through a diocese, decides to stay this is in his book, the autobiography of him. He decides to stay at a monastery. The bishop, who back then, the dioceses were much smaller and they knew everyone was going on. The bishop hated him. And told him that somehow got word of him that he was there, told him that he needed to leave and get out of my diocese. And you think of Louis just walking a couple hundred miles or whatever it was. His feet are tired, probably bleeding, tired. He got up and told the bishop to go pound sand. No, he got up and left the diocese. It's like, all right, fine, I'm out.
Yeah, telling bishops to go pound sand was not in most Catholics' priests' vocabulary back in the days of tradition. All right, so folks, the Slaves to the Immaculate Heart. You hear the sisters here. That's part of the work we do here on the Ethics and Broadcasting Network and the Crusade Channel. You all know about Steve's work and all the work that he does. You got a stack of books you haven't even read over there. Trust me, I'm an admin on his page now, and I see that you guys don't even know. There's like 6 pages of stuff that hasn't even been published yet. So the man doesn't sleep. So go buy 400 or 500 tickets right now and put us all into the black. And then we're going to end the day tonight with a massive groundswell of wonderful people that are going to go to winapoundofgold.com. They're going to say, oh, well, why didn't you tell me you was a nonprofit? We did kind of on day one, but we'll just reiterate it today. So you go make your ticket purchase right now for a great cause, winapoundofgold.com. All right, brother. Great to talk today, man. You got to, even though the contest will be over here, you got to come on at least once a week. Pop in.
I'm at your service anytime the King Dude wants. I am a servant of the dude.
Oh. All right, brother. God bless you, man. Hey, I may do a Jerry Lewis telethon tonight, so you may get called upon.
Hit me up if you need.
Okay, man. All right, God bless. Folks, we got to take a time out. I delayed it. We're going to take one and come back with our final segment. Seriously, take it seriously. And you can go and pad your ticket count. If everyone that's listening right now went and bought one more $50 worth, one more ticket, and there are over 1,400 people that have tickets, that puts us into this. You'd have a 8160 or 8116. What's the count? That would put us at 7,100? No, 7,000. A much better situation to be in where we were when we started the day. And that is for the Ethics and Broadcasting Network, Crusade Radio Guild, my nonprofit, Steve's, Sensus Fidelium. We'll take a time out. Be right back with the final segment of this day here on the Mike Church Show on the Ethics and Broadcasting Network.
Mike Church Show has been the industry leader in promotions, giving away 5 cars in the last 8 years alone. But nothing can prepare you for the greatest giveaway event in broadcast history. Coming June 8th.
Hello, Red, White, and Dude Nation. I'm Janet Huxley at the Mike Church Show News Desk with your crucials for Thursday, July the 2nd, 2026. This report is brought to you by the Golden Truth Ticket Sweepstakes. Get your Gold Fruit tickets today at winapoundofgold.com. In the market report, the Dow fell just slightly, 0.03%, and the S&P was down 0.22%. NASDAQ also was down 0.66%. Today is National Wildland Firefighter Day. July the 2nd honors the dedicated personnel who coordinate their efforts to protect the nation's wildlands. And every year, wildfires burn millions of acres across the United States. Today is National I Forgot Day, pausing on life's hectic schedules, acting as the ultimate holiday reset. Apologize for what slipped your mind, but forgive yourself for the mental slip-ups and blame it on the calendar. It's also National Anisette Day. We recognize a liqueur derived from the aniseed on National Anisette Day. It's from the anise herb that gives anisette its licorice or fennel flavor. It's usually a sweet liqueur, but distillers traditionally blend it with sugar syrup or a sweeter syrup. Spain, Italy, Portugal, and France lead the world in drinking this licorice-tasting drink. Our quote of the day: you will accomplish more by kind words and a courteous manner than by anger or sharp rebuke, which should never be used except in necessity. Saint Angela Merici. You can learn about today's Saint of the Day in the Saint of the Day podcast, From the Slaves to the Immaculate Heart Sisters. Just listen or download at crusadechannel.com/saint. You're listening to The Mike Church Show in the Red, White, and Dude Nation.
Hi, folks. It's Mike Church, founder of Founding Father Films, asking you to learn the true stories of America's founding by purchasing my movie, The Spirit of 76. The Spirit of 76 details the true story of the writing and ratifying of the U.S. Constitution.
Who authorized them to speak the language of we, the people, instead of we, the states? States are the characteristics and the soul of a confederation. If the states be not the agents of this compact, it must be one great...
This animated movie comes complete with collector's booklets, DTS surround sound, and is packed with hours of bonus features. Learn the true stories of America's founding and order Mike Church's The Spirit of 76 on a 2-DVD or 3-CD set. Available now at mikechurch.com/DVD and by calling 844-527-8723. This is a pixel. I'm Groot. Now, if you put a couple of million of these guys together, you can make a sentence on an LED screen. Put a couple of billion of them together, and you can make a whole page. Put 360 billion of them, and you got Chesterton's book, Orthodoxy. But it doesn't smell like a book, and it burns teeny little holes in your cornea. So is the pixel really your friend? I'm Groot. No, but the Founders Trading Post is your friend, and we have actual books with actual smelly pages. Plus, our little bookstore has everything you'd expect. I'm Groot. Yes, Groot, to the gourmet coffee, but no to the One Tree Hill sappy guitar music.
Pick up a copy of G.K. Chesterton's Orthodoxy, plus many other Chesterton titles at shop.mikechurch.com.
I think I'll go to sleep and dream about piles of gold getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Here's a piles and piles of gold fun fact. The first gold rush wasn't in California or in Alaska. It was in Dahlonega, Georgia in 1829 and lasted until the last gold mine closed around 1910. Now, some people say that there's still gold in them there Georgia hills. We don't know about that, but we do know that Mike Church has 1 troy pound of gold in his safe, and he's going to give it away to one of you on July 2nd.
Win Mike Church's Pound of Gold. Tickets on sale now exclusively at winapoundofgold.com. Vacation sold separately.
Most Crusade Channel wannabes only get the mission half right.
Men, you are about to embark on a great crusade to stamp out runaway decency in the West.
So why settle for half-baked radio hacks crusading in mono when you can get the real deal on the Mike Church Show?
Now go do that voodoo that you do so well.
In stereo. The Mike Church Show's Great Crusade is on the Veritas Radio Network's Crusade.
Citizens, soldiers, I'm here at the order of General Robert E. Lee, commanding all Virginia forces. On April 15th of this year of our Lord, 1861, Simon Cameron, the Secretary of War of the United States, sent a telegram to our Governor, John Letcher, directing him to raise 3 regiments of infantry to be sent to assist in suppressing the Southern Confederacy. Governor Letcher's answer is well known to you, but perhaps not his words. His wire to Washington stated, "You have chosen to inaugurate civil war, and having done so, we will meet you in a spirit as determined as the Lincoln administration has exhibited toward the South." 2 days later, the Virginia legislature voted for secession. Just as we would not send any of our soldiers to march in other states and tyrannize other people, so will we never allow the armies of others to march into our state and tyrannize our people. Like many of you, indeed most of you, I've always been a Union man. It is not with joy or with a light heart that many of us have welcomed secession. Had our neighbors to the north practiced a less bellicose form of persuasion, perhaps this day might not have come, but that day has been thrust upon us like it was thrust upon our ancestors. The Lincoln administration required us to raise 3 regiments. Tell them we have done so.
I wanted to read what our beloved Father Glod has just typed into the chat room. The Mike Church Show official Signal chat. And I'm just going to read this verbatim. RE, the situation with the SSPX. For whatever my opinion is worth, I have two big issues. First, in order to be considered schismatic, they have to prove you committed some form of doctrinal heresy, which the XPS has certainly not done. Second, Cardinal Christopher Fernandez has no authority to declare sacraments administered by a validly ordained priest invalid unless they have been removed from the clerical state. Illicit, yes, but invalid, no. So, Michael Hitchborn on Facebook makes a great point, our friend from the Lepanto Institute. So let me get this right. Father James Martin J. and the Rainbow, homosexual pederasts, are all in communion with the Catholic Church, the Catholic faith, and Rome. But Jacqueline and her family are not? Because they go to the SSPX? What? Kennedy Hall and his family are not? I'm just giving you some examples now. Mike Parrott and his family are not? I think that this is a horrible, horrible, horrible situation here. And I think that it is being made worse by the heavy-handed actions. I understand the Vatican point of view, or the people in Rome's point of view, that, wait a minute, you can't do this. We gave you an order and you disobeyed. I get the whole obedience thing. I do. I get it. I understand. I told you, and I explained this. Per our own experience and what we have been experiencing since 2019 with the precepts against the slaves to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, Brother Andre Marie and the sisters at the St. Benedict Center in Richmond, New Hampshire. So, and I've just recently interviewed Brother about it. So we know a little bit about the idea and the issue, or the concept of hierarchy and obedience. So, but the response here, there are a lot of people that are cheering this. A lot of people that hate the Catholic Church. And they certainly despise everything that's sacred and traditional. And so they think this is a big win. This isn't a win for anyone. Nobody's a winner in this. I don't think anyone is a winner in this. So I'm going to get Mike Parrott on the StreamYard after Magdalene. So stay with us here. We're not going anywhere. We're going to continue to cover it. He's in Econa. He's there. He's actually in the place where they did the consecrations yesterday. He was, as a matter of fact, he was there. He was in attendance. He was in choir, if you will. So we'll get a first-hand point of view. 8,157 tickets. That's 157 to go to get to the number for the end of this broadcast today. What our goal was. Not going to happen if you don't go and get your Golden Truth ticket at winapoundofgold.com. All right, let's go back and we'll talk a little bit. We'll come back to this when I can get Parrott on. Let's go back and talk about what happened and what is happening in Mordor on the Potomac. It is the 4th of July this weekend, after all, and it is the 250th anniversary of the great festival day. As John Adams said, it ought to be celebrated with games and rides and fun and fireworks and candles and rockets, and it's the great annual holiday. And there is a little bit of celebration going on, but what's going on in the Republican and Democrat parties, and what's going on in our national politics, especially with this birthright citizenship nonsense, and this basically talk about edicts and decree coming from John Roberts' Supreme Court, just makes it all just seem like, man, can we just hit the reset button? And no one is happy with the political state of affairs today, unless you're Magdalene, unless you're a Democrat Socialist of America.
Well, I think that's true. In the birthright citizenship debate, it is really not something that's going to go away. I mean, all across the country, conservative lawyers, think tanks are like, okay, got to get ready for the next round. I don't think the left is going to win on this. Because when you really read the examples, like, for example, when you read about Chinese couples who have an American be their surrogate so that they can then have their child be a U.S. citizen, and then they have an anchor baby and they can bring their companies here and they can get all the breaks and tax relief that they want from having an American child, that cannot be the same as an American couple who are even first-generation Americans who've built things, who have a home here, who have a community, having a child in their local hospital. It just can't be. And it's a system that is drowning us, and people are angry about it. And it's the thing that if we correct, we have the most immediate turnaround on.
Well, so yesterday, in a fit of, I guess, exasperation or desperation or frustration, whatever you want to call it, the Zion King, Mike Johnson, just goes, all right, screw it. All y'all go home. We're not going to get anything done anyway. Just go home. And just tells Congress to just leave. I'm bringing it to an end. We'll reconvene sometime in July. He doesn't even give a reconvening, a date to reconvene. He just says leave. I'm calling it. That's it. We're out.
Yeah. And I think at this point, there are people in Congress who realize that citizenship and immigration, they're the main focuses. I don't really understand what the Trump administration does all day. I mean, I think that the lack of focus on immigration has been disgusting. It's what he was elected to do. It's ridiculous. I remember when we had the Venezuelan gang raids, and then that all stopped. So you're going to tell me all the bad Venezuelan people are out of the United States. All the gang issues are solved? No, Trump didn't have an appetite for it. And how dare he not have an appetite for it when he ran with angel moms, when he ran on young girls, like completely destroyed, murdered from illegal immigration. Yet he doesn't have an appetite for it anymore. So I guess we just suffer.
And okay, so then the happiest people in the United States are, number one, illegal alien criminal trespassing females who are pregnant. That's one. And then Democrat socialist of America. You know, it's a strange thing with these people, with these wackos, these commies. They're all naturalized Americans. There's not a one of them that was born here. This is what the invasion party looks like. The Democrat, and they're telling you that they're Democrat socialists.
Yeah, it is. And I think a lot of what is also happening here is the fact that when you stop focusing on the thing that got you elected, the rest of the party stops focusing on it as well. You know, J.D. Vance will go do a thought piece at a panel about how terrible immigration is, but does he ever throw his weight around as vice president? Because it's never reported that he does. So either he has the tightest political circle in American history, which he does not, or he doesn't do it. And, like, that's just the reality here. We're seeing right-wing leaders win all across Latin America. Europe is having a more right-wing resurgence. And in the United States, we're not prioritizing ending illegal immigration, honestly, because Donald Trump doesn't like negative headlines. Well, honestly, if you're Donald Trump, like at this point, if you're still affected by negative headlines, the problem is on you, not the negative headlines.
Well, Magdalene, I think the man's loss is seriously. I think there's something wrong. Yesterday, you know, he's in North Dakota. He's in Medora, North Dakota. Maggie, play digital media file number 3. And he actually talks about himself like he's Leon in the Bud Light commercials. You know, Leon don't do that. You know, Leon can throw the ball, catch it at the same time. Everybody used to laugh at Leon talking about himself third person. There's Trump talking about himself third person, saying, I think I'm just going to give myself the Congressional Medal of Honor. He was joking, but okay, here, watch.
Now, this is dangerous to say because the fake news is up there all over the place. And when I joke, I learned early on, don't be sarcastic in politics. But I actually said a few times that I've seriously thought of giving myself the Congressional Medal of Honor. Now, everyone knows I'm doing it with a chuckle, but then they report, he wants to give himself the Congressional. So I don't say that anymore. It's very dangerous to say. But it is the highest award, and they had a father-son get it, and that's a tremendous tribute to a genetic pool.
And then, okay, so his teleprompter broke and he had to ramble. And I get that, you're the president and they're having this big hoop-de-doo at Teddy Roosevelt's library, and it was cool that he got ridden in by the Rough Riders and all that. It was typical Trump. It was bigger than life, right? It was all the things that you voted for and that you thought were going to come to fruition. But when he talked about the birthright citizenship, I'm going like, why aren't you angry? This is real. There are going to be real evil people who are going to do real evil things now that this has happened. And there doesn't seem to be any urgency. Well, there doesn't seem to be. There is no urgency. J.D. Vance goes on with, who was he on with? Maggie, who was this? Who was he on with? It had to be somebody on Fox. He gets asked about Amy, the notorious ACB, and he goes, yeah, she made a mistake. Nobody's perfect. I wish she had written the other way. Yeah, nobody's perfect. JD, she just undid the founding. They undid the founding 3 days before the 200th anniversary of said founding. Why aren't you livid over this?
Yeah, but that's the question. Why is J.D. Vance never upset about anything? Why is J.D. Vance never, ever angry? Like, it's just this ridiculousness of J.D. Vance is like the guy, we have to elect him. Why? I also don't understand why Byron Donalds has to be governor of Florida. Nobody will explain it. And I absolutely love the level of complete apathy Ron DeSantis has for the entire Florida political races that are going on here. Like, he will step out, he will talk about everything, he will not mention the Florida governor's race. Good for him. Why should he? Like, honestly, what has the Trump world done for him lately? And people are like, oh, he owes everything to Donald Trump. Yeah, but he also was one of the only governors who stood up during COVID. He also really has built his own system where we should be grateful to him for a lot of things. He also put those illegal immigrants in Martha's Vineyard, which has its own Wikipedia page. It was so epic, that incident. So I don't feel the need for Ron DeSantis to constantly be on his knees to Donald Trump when Ron DeSantis stood up when a lot of other governors didn't. And on illegal immigration, I will tell you, young conservatives going into the legal world, who are lawyers, who are building out that world, they will continue birthright citizenship cases over and over and over until it is reversed. They will not stop, because if we end this system, or we put some qualifying factors on it, literally our world changes overnight. And for Amy Coney Barrett to vote against this, I mean, it's disgusting, it's ridiculous, and I'd love to see a little bit of outrage from J.D. Vance. Trump had more outrage over the tariffs not going his way than this.
Yeah, he was red-faced over that, but not so much. Well, there is the theory going on out there that the executive order, that he wrote the executive order knowing that it would get challenged and knowing that it would go all the way to the SCOTUS, and also knowing that ultimately the notorious ACB would plunge that dagger in his back and was it just, I mean, Brett Kavanaugh wrote a concurring opinion. Even he didn't vote for it, but he wrote a concurring opinion, which is weird. So don't let Kavanaugh off the hook either, which is, I'm stunned by this. So it was 5-4. It was Roberts, notorious ACB, Sotomayor, Kagan, and Ketanji Brown Jackson. But I didn't read Kavanaugh's concurring opinion because it would have made me vomit. I'm like, why did you vote no, but wrote a concurrent opinion? These people hate you. They hate you. And Magdalene, I am a bit of a historian, and I can tell you that beyond any shadow of an unequivocal doubt. And when John Sauer argued that case in front of the SCOTUS, Maggie, what did I say that day? They're going to lose. Sauer's argument was horrible. It was terrible. And I'm listening to his argument and going like, no, that's not the argument. Don't make that case. What are you doing? And it all just seems now just too contrived and too convenient for me. And so they wanted this decision to go so that they could get, this is the cudgel that they're going to get real ID with now. That's all the hubbub now. Is now Congress is going to get busy, and now we're going to force all the states into real ID because we got to be able to identify the pregnant illegal alien before she can give birth or whatever the excuse is. And now you're going to get the SAVE Act. We have to have the SAVE Act so that the more you look at the SAVE Act, the more stuff that they put in it, the more surveillance crap that they put in it. So I just think that the whole thing to me, again, just is that this is not what you voted for. It is not the outcome. And if it isn't, then what are you going to do about it? And your young conservative friends, I mean, the SCOTUS is ruled. Okay, Roe got overturned. True. So you're going to go back to the SCOTUS. How are you going to undo the notorious ACB's vote? Because that's what you have to do, or Roberts' vote. You got to make them a party to basically the repeal of birthright citizenship. How's that going to happen?
Yeah, and it is a system now where we have been doomed, and Trump and senior administration officials don't seem that upset about it. I would love to know where Stephen Miller is and what they've done with him, because you cannot tell me that Stephen Miller is happy with what's happening. I would love to understand what happened to that man. He went from being like the most ardent anti-immigration, headstrong human being to just a sniveling, on his wife's podcast loser. It's so depressing. It's so horrifying. And if you notice, the anti-immigration talking points in the administration went away when Stephen Miller went away. And I think that is not a coincidence. And if you think that when you get into midterms, you're going to run on rah-rah for Iran or healthcare, you're delusional. Really, what is the Republican Party running on in these next midterms? There's not even a platform. There's not even a key policy. Meanwhile, Democrats are sweeping with Democratic Socialist victories in primaries all through the Sun Belt, and we don't have a key component for our midterm platform.
How long before Zoran, the moron, Kami Mamdani mandates and then assigns a New York City Enforcement Bureau that all thermostats have to be set on 78 in all businesses? You heard this, right?
Banned lights. Yeah, he already banned lighting after certain periods of time. Yep.
So this is what a socialist commie takeover of a major city looks like. You don't want to be in a business where a thermostat is set at 78, especially if it's run by foreigners, because they smell. And that place is going to smell horrible. You go to a bodega that's run by Indian people, you are not ever going to go back if that thermostat is set on 78. Who does this? I mean, not even the lunatic. What was the wacko's name that was running New York with the white guy with his who passed on making Mother Cabrini the most famous New York female ever? And
is that De Blasio?
De Blasio. Oh, my Lord, de Blasio wasn't even this stupid. But here's Mom Donnie saying, no, you're going to turn your thermostats up. That's my business, and no, I'm not. We have to relieve the grid on the power. We have to relieve the strain on the power grid. You better find some way to generate some new electricity there, bub.
And to every business owner, please set your thermostats to 78 degrees to alleviate the stress on our power grid. Every worker in New York City has the right to a safe workplace, and that includes safety in extreme heat. For New Yorkers looking...
So workers in extreme heat need to be able to cool down to 78. If I'm in extreme heat and I come in my house, it's set on 69, baby. Set your thermostat on 60. I want to see... Well, I will wager you that there is an enforcement mechanism that's coming next.
I'm sure there is. But this is always the dripping of the socialism that occurs.
That's right.
It starts with, Mom Dami got, some free child care, and Mom Dami did all these great things. Great. You now have no control of your lighting, electric, what you can eat, your grocery stores, or some strange commie co-op. Was it really worth it for those extra few hours of child care? And I say that as someone with a young child. You have to realize that if you trade on socialist policies and you get something, you will lose something. This is the system of socialism, and then it will tick over till you have lost so much, but everybody else has. So it's all equal. You're sharing in the equalness of your suffering, which you didn't have to do. But Mamdani is also dangerous because he's doing everything that people thought AOC would. See, I always thought AOC was a little bit like somebody who likes nice things and would very much get into going to the Met Gala and hanging out with celebrities, and she has. Mamdani grew up with all those things, so he's a true believer. He doesn't get swayed by the perks of his office now because his mother was like an Oscar-nominated director. So he's helping Democratic Socialists win throughout the Sun Belt, particularly in Arizona. Republicans are doing nothing to counter that. We're letting them win left and right, and we just think it's okay because we'll run against them and it'll be great. It's not going to be great if they get a majority in a state legislature.
No, that will also necessitate, again, there are constitutional triggers here against the against Article 6 and the guarantee of a Republican form of government, which Democrat socialists by design and by definition do not provide. This edict here on the thermostat, you're exactly right. That's a brilliant analysis. It says, oh, yeah, we're going to give you free health care. You got free daycare for all 60,000 kids in New York. Now, here's the trade-off. You're going to turn your thermostats up because I said so. And if you don't, pretty soon we're going to have the thermostat Stasi, not Nazi Gestapo come around and start checking people's thermostats. You know, they're not going to have to do that. They'll come out there with some invasive little gizmo that's going to come to the door of your business, and they're going to laser sight your door, and they're going to be able to tell, or your window. They're going to be able to tell what the temperature is inside from the infrared, because I have an infrared and I know I can do it. And that's what they're going to do, and they're going to start writing tickets, and they're going to start fining people, thousands upon thousands, and then into the millions of dollars, because you won't comply with a socialist command to conserve energy. The people in New York, you are the guinea pigs. You get to live in the Potemkin village of New York, of Moscow on the Hudson. Enjoy it. All right, Magdalene, have a wonderful 4th of July weekend, and you might be called into service and to duty this evening if we need a final push and have to do an on-air telethon this evening to gin up some final purchases of the tickets. I'll let you know about that. But if not, happy Independence Day, regardless of what everyone that's trying to screw the weekend up is doing. And we'll talk soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. We're going to go live now to Icone in Italy. I think it's in Italy, where Mike Parrott is. And he is at a sidewalk cafe, he is telling me. And so he's going to StreamYard in. And we'll talk to him because I want to find out he says he has news because he was at the SSPX consecrations yesterday. He was actually in attendance. So I want to hear what the news is. So I'm just waiting on him. So while we're waiting on him, we'll let's see what time is it? The clock is getting away from me. While we're waiting on Parrott to chime in, we'll play some more digital media files. What else do we have to talk about here? By the way, count on the tickets right now, 8,153 remaining. So the goal was 9 a.m. Is it Icone, Switzerland? Is that where? No, it's Germany, isn't it? It's Germany. Icone's in Germany. 8,153 are remaining. We're not going to get to the 80 to 8,000 if you don't go and get yours, or if you have one already, double your purchase. Just enough. It's an extra $50. If you don't have it, we understand, but if you do, winapoundofgold.com. I've seen some password resets and stuff coming through because I get notifications on them. So I know that people are trying to buy their tickets. Speaking of, all right, Maggie, while we're waiting on Parrott, play digital media file number, and we're waiting to get to ticket number 8,000. So that's 151 of you. winapoundofgold.com, or check your email. And if you need a discount or you want a discount, check your email. I sent you one. There is an email with a discount code in it in your email box. Okay, play number 7, please. This is Zoran the Moron Kamdami talking about the difference between socialism and capitalism. By the way, this is their favorite argument. They actually love this argument because they invented the term capitalist. This is a Marxist term, capitalist.
Closely with Governor Hochul and our partners in both Albany and here at the City Council. And we raise taxes on the wealthiest New Yorkers instead of taking more from those with the least. Throughout this process, I've been reminded of the words of the Austrian economist Friedrich Hayek. If socialists understood
Friedrich,
economics,
you
they
dummy!
would be socialists. If these past months have shown us anything, it is that socialists not only understand economics just as well as the capitalists who came before, but that we can solve their years of mismanagement through an embrace of our principles. There is nothing fiscally responsible about balancing the budget on the backs of working people. Today...
Well, you're not going to balance it on the backs of wealthy people because there aren't enough of them, and they don't have enough money. Stupid. This is the lie. I can't believe I'm in 2026 and they're still telling it. And people still believe it. All right, Mike Parrott is in Econ, Germany, and is now on the Switzerland. I'm sorry, Econ, Switzerland. And is on the StreamYard Maker hotline at some sidewalk cafe. You're in a better place than we are, buddy. At least they don't have birthright citizenship there.
Well, they don't have that, but they're importing the third world just as well. So.
Oh. You know. Well, scratch that country off the list where to retreat to.
Yes, no, I'm in the Eternal City now, in Roma. I got here today I was in Econ yesterday, so.
Oh, okay.
I got getting a little bit of perspective here from the Europeans on the events.
Okay, so the Catholic world is abuzz, of course, of what happened yesterday. Now the Vatican has responded and excommunicated people. Father Glod, my father, you met Father Glod. Father Glod came on and said, you cannot excommunicate people unless you can prove that they were involved. I'll read it to you. He says, first, in order to be considered schismatic, they have to prove you committed some form of doctrinal heresy, which the SSPX has certainly not done. Second, Cardinal Kaiser Fernandez has no authority to declare sacraments administered by a validly ordained priest invalid unless they have been removed from the clerical state. Illicit, yes, but invalid, no. So 2 major problems with the 4 points that have come out today from from Rome. You're in Rome. Is there a hubbub and a buzz about the SSPX ordinations and now the proclamations of schism?
Well, I'll tell you, being in Econ yesterday was sort of like a tratty Catholic World Youth Day. I mean, everybody was there. I mean, couldn't walk down a sidewalk without somebody that from across the planet. I mean, not only people who listened to Paratalk here with you, but other people as well. John Henry Weston was there covering it live, as well as an entire team from LifeSite. Listen, Theo Howard was covering it for 1 Peter 5, and so there was a lot of American news press, like Catholic news press. They were all there, as well as there was some secular press covering it as well. Obviously, the response from Rome today has, I sort of feel like some spiritual whiplash right now, because witnessing the glory of Holy Mother of the Church yesterday, the splendor of it, and really the global nature of the church, and I need to do something that is going to be painful for me to do, King Dude. I need to compliment the French. I don't think I know. I could just leave it at that and maybe discharge my duties. No, they really know how to organize an event. I mean, there were it felt like 25,000 people there. I have not seen an official number. They were hyper organized. We were told where to sit, by language. Every announcement was made in all 5 languages, all 5 major European languages. French, of course, was the primary and dominant language, and the language in which the sermon was delivered. English is the secondary language, with an American bishop now, Michael Goldaddy, who was the prior in Kansas City, so we all know him quite well. And I gotta say, I mean, seeing the world come, and not just like the world's like worldly people, but beautiful people from all around the world, people who know how to dress, how to comport themselves, Catholic people,
right,
in every tongue. The spirit of the church was certainly alive and well out in the crowds. It was kind of I was touched in a deep way. Like I just wasn't expecting that. I came with an analytical mind. I wanted to see it, wanted to be part of history, want my son to see it, etc. I want to have an eyewitness to it in 35 or 40 or 50 years if or when this thing is continuing. And but I left without my analytical mind. I left with a deep imprint on my heart. And then woke up today to the news, of the heavy-handedness, and I really felt like I felt a sense of despondence when I read that document. I certainly agree with you on the technicalities of it. I'm not a canon lawyer and won't pretend to be one. As far as I can tell, though, a lot of it is null and void, and it's really been used as a bludgeon. Simultaneously as a scare tactic to try to scare the faithful away from the Latin Mass, but also as a weapon system, as a potent weapon system to sort of beat people over the head in social media and humiliate them. So there's just so much to say. I mean, that's the broad overview. Happy to dive into anything more specific, but is there anything else going on in the world? I don't think so. I mean, this is the most important thing, I think.
Well, I think that, of course, Cunningham, Steve Cunningham was on earlier, and we of course, we talked about this. We talked about it a lot. You're one of the people, okay? When in that letter it says that if you quote adhere to the SSPX, whatever that means, and consider yourself in schism, and as Father Glaude says, you can't do that. You can't just declare hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of people to be in schism. But I think one of the things that's not being talked about here, and I think you brought this up to me once, Mike, was the poison pill laid by Summorum Pontificum. Get us all herded into this, under this one document. You get everyone herded into under the one document. Oh no, you don't have to have adult masses anymore. You don't have to have this and that and the other, and then deliver the kill shot. We got all of you right where we want you, and now we can deliver the shot that's heard around the world. I also think because of his demeanor, that letter does not scream Robert, Francis, Prevost. It does not scream Augustinian Prevost at all. It screams whoever it was that wrote that letter. There's like an angry Italian is what it looks like. A very angry Italian wrote that letter, and not the Holy Fathers.
Yeah.
So.
Forgive me for saying this, but you may even describe him as a bitchy Italian. But look, I think, I think you bring up an excellent point with respect to like sort of the Ecclesia Dei communities and how do people react with their indult mass and all of that. There are always secondary and tertiary effects to anything that anybody does, including what Rome does.
Yep.
And it's absolutely true that the former Ecclesia Dei communities, including the Fraternity of St. Peter, the Institute of Christ the King, Good Shepherd, etc., and all of the other ones that fly under the radar, that they are taking extreme levels of caution right now. I mean, one of the beauties of being over here is, you meet a bunch of people from around the world, and they tell you what they see and what they hear. The Fraternity of St. Peter in Europe, broadly speaking, has completely capitulated. I mean, they go out of their way to accept every tittle of Vatican II, and they'll preach about only the Vatican II saints. They'll do whatever it takes to exist, right?
Wow.
And that is going to intensify because obviously the pressure is on them. I mean, if Kiss Me With Your Mouth, Tucci Frutti Fernandez is willing to go to this extreme length with Society of St. Pius X, that sends a tacit message to the others under his thumb that we're not messing around anymore. I think the other thing that you alluded to, and I just want to bring out into the open, is this is not a letter that I think conveys strength. In fact, I think it's the opposite. That this letter conveys something that I think is it's fear and weakness. And let me say something that I sort of came to this not here, but before I got here actually. I think the center of the Novus Ordo has really collapsed, and but by that I mean, look, who goes there anymore? I mean, it's grandparents. It's paid theologians who work at Catholic colleges. It's basically people who are on the dole to the Novus Ordo, but otherwise it's completely collapsed. All but collapsed. It's financially collapsed for sure. That's why they elected an American Pope. And as a result, I think they know it. I think Rome knows it, and I think that this consecration puts a lot of pressure on a very shaky house.
So this is then the Catholic version of the Battle of the Bulge. This is the German army going, oh, no, we're not defeated. You're not going to beat us. One last surge here. One last shot across the TLM Tratty bow here. You guys lost. You're going to lose. We're going to we'll excommunicate. It's almost like Dean Wormer screaming in Animal House. I'm going to revoke your charter.
Right. It's territory by territory, and it's a messy conflict. You look at Eastern Europe and the Novus Ordo is full. You look at Europe proper, the continent, or Great Britain or whatever, and the Novus Ordo is completely collapsed. You look at France and the trads have overtaken the Novus Ordo.
That's true.
And you look at the United States and it's trending in that direction. It's not going to happen anytime soon, but if current trends continue, it's a mathematical certainty. On the American thing, I think I want to make an important point that I thought was just no one is making this point, and I think it's really obvious, at least to me. When I showed up to a cone, the first thing that everyone was handed was a white hat, a ball cap, and it says a cone 2026 on it, and it looked and it felt like a MAGA hat. I mean, that's what it felt like. I was like, okay, everyone's getting a MAGA hat. And we're getting an American bishop, and there's an American pope, and there's an American empire being rebuilt by Trump, and it really and as I really tried to closely observe this theme, it continued to jump out at me. Like, for example, we sat right next to the VIP section, so I was not in the VIP section. Just to be clear, I was with the English-speaking section, but to my right was the VIP section. And there were rows that were reserved for each of the extended families of the bishops. And the first row was given to Bishop Goldaddy of the United States. The Frenchies were all behind him and his family. The first words we heard from one of the four new bishops was Bishop Michael Goldaddy from the United States. He said the Vespers, and the other three bishops were in choir. I've even noticed that in the photos of the six bishops, it is as though he is in a prominent position. He's always side by side with the original two, and then the other three are sort of like down one step or off to the side of the photo. So I can't help but wonder if the society, and I have no insider information on this whatsoever, this is completely my own speculation, but I can't help but wonder if the Society of St. Pius X and tradition at large is not begrudgingly, but willingly admitting the fact that this is going to be an American fight against an American Pope in the backdrop of an American empire, and perhaps that's why Bishop Goldaddy was chosen, and he's pretty outspoken. And by the way, we can't neglect to point out that he was trained by Bishop Williamson, ordained by Bishop Williamson, and he sounded a lot like him at Vespers last night when he was basically took the gloves off. I mean, his in the ceremony of consecration, it takes like an hour just to get the gloves on the bishops. Well, his gloves came off about 2 hours later in those comments. So I think there's something happening where traditionally for the last 2 generations, the fight has been mainly governed by French generals. But it may be we may be witnessing the passing to if you want something blown up, you need to call in an American airstrike.
Well, you hire Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin and let them call it in, because they'll call their buddies in the IDF, and then you'll get the Israeli military, and then you get the U.S. military, and you get all that. I think that the American empire, though, and I don't believe in coincidences, has now reached its nadir. We've crossed the Rubicon. We're on the other side of it. We're Hannibal and his elephants. We're on the way down, and it's all just going to be downhill from here. And the imperium is not going to last. This birthright citizenship nonsense is just absolutely that. It's absolute it's gibberish nonsense. I don't know. You didn't get a chance to read it, Mike. Read on the plane home. Just read the last 2 pages of Roberts' majority decision. You'll puke. You'll laugh. The man is citing Yates. He cites Bernard Balin. He cites a council from New York State in 1848. He does everything but cite a SCOTUS case, a federal case of any kind, because there is simply no justification in American or constitutional law for it, and they know it. They just sewed it together, and they don't care. They don't care. How are we supposed to live in a Republican form of government under this?
I perfectly agree with you, and I agree that we are in our death throes. The danger of being in an empire in its death throes is that is when it makes the craziest decisions. You know, look at the entire West is in the death throes. I mean, it is a crime to be a white straight male in England, Germany, and in the United States, and we are treated with contempt, and we are actually the enemies. The worst crime that you can commit is racism or anti-Semitism, so-called. And that's it. And that's actually worse than murder in Great Britain. Just look at that poor young man that was stabbed. I don't believe you have been stabbed, mate. I think everybody recognizes that a very dangerous, dying empire like the United States. Look at what Great Britain did in their death throes. World War II. I mean, which in a lot of ways they caused, in order to extend their power, and in the end, they were willing to give away their empire to win. What sacrifices will the United States make? What will we be willing to do, in the next global conflict? Obviously, with Russia still hot, Iran still hot, and all of those things. So, anyway, this is just a working theory. I might be wrong. The Frenchies may never give up their leadership role in the international traditional Catholic movement, but it certainly looks like English was always the close second language on everything done. French first, but English a close second. And then you had German, Italian, and Spanish at the bottom. So I don't know. It was interesting, but I have to underscore the point that there were a lot of people from around the world that were there yesterday, and I don't think any of them really minds what Tucci Frutti put out today. I don't think half of them are going to read it.
Well, mon ami, les catholiques personnes doit parle de la française, Allah, s'aimer l'institution, Christ le roi. Did you?
I love it. I love it. You could probably have just listened to Don Pagliarani's speech in French. You probably could have translated
Some of it. But the French are still there. But interestingly enough, the ICK is expanding in the United States. But you have to go to seminary in France and learn to speak French. So there is that. I'll leave you with this to let you get back to your Roman duties. The two most heroic Americans this week, do you know who they are? Take a guess, Mike. Oh, he's having a connection issue. You're going to regret. Okay, you're there. You're back. Who are the two most heroic Americans this week?
Okay, I'm back. I missed everything you said. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
who were the two most heroic Americans this week?
Oh, heroic Americans this week. Well, I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to the States, to be honest.
Okay, I'll tell you. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. White hetero's gonna get married, Joe. As white heteros.
Oh my goodness.
So
yeah, I would have missed that.
Yeah,
I would have missed that even on a multiple choice test.
Wait a minute. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. No, that can't possibly be. No. It's a politician. It's Theo Vaughn. It's white heteros are going to be married as white heteros. So you can take that for what it's worth. When are you coming home? When are you coming back?
Very soon. Very soon. Just a quick little jaunt in Italy. Say goodbye to all my friends here, and then we'll be home.
Oh, yeah. Was your favorite reporter there yesterday? Did you have coffee with Cheese Dale?
She was not present. I didn't see her in the tent, and she could have been covering it for Ben Shapiro. That's who she works for. Well, ostensibly on paper, we all know that she works for the CIA, but I guess what's the difference, really? But no, she wasn't there. She was certainly tweeting about it. She was irate, as was Nazi Niles and the usual suspects. All the unmarried women on Twitter, all the spinsters. They're really up in arms about what men do.
Well, I think that's a good indication that it might have been that some of it must have been, at least some of it, I'll say, must have been a good thing then that those two were up in arms about it. So we'll take it from that. All right, buddy. Thank you so much for the live report from La Roma.
Good to see you, friends. God bless you.
Good to see you, too. God bless you, too. Safe travels home. Folks, we are in the, speaking of death throes of empire. I'm kidding. As we leave the airwaves today, let me hit refresh one more time. 8,148 tickets remain. So we only missed our target by 148. And knowing that in the 9 o'clock hour, most of you have already checked out and you're all gone. You're either at work or you're watching some other podcast or whatever it is you're doing. So for those of you that remain, you have the rest of the day. Go hit your parents up for $50. Go borrow the $50 and double your ticket holding. Call your Uncle Bobo or Aunt Petunia and borrow the $50 if you must. But double your ticket holding and do it today because it's the right thing to do to ensure that the Ethics in Broadcasting Network, the Mike Church Show, the Crusade Channel, and Sensus Fidelium continue to produce the quality of broadcasting and videos and audio presentations that no one else in media is attempting. And yes, we both have nonprofits. So I know that there is a lot there are many, I won't say a lot, there are many wealthy listeners and viewers that give oodles of money to nonprofit causes all year long. You have it. It's in your budget. You're the ones that can throw this thing over the top. And, people start seeing that there are a lot less tickets. They start getting antsy. And maybe they go, wait a minute. Oh, I want in on this. Maybe I need to go and buy another one. So help us build some momentum before the end of this hour. Go to winapoundofgold.com or just check your email. I'm going to email you as soon as Alan Grossman and me and Jim Mosier are done singing the Red, White, and Dude Nation. I'm going to send you an email. So, and there will be some goodies in it for you. So, I expect all of you to double your ticket holdings, and we will see you. I will also send you an email later today if there's going to be a telethon that we're going to conduct and do a live show where Thursday Night Throwdown would usually appear anyway. I'm on the fence about it because none of you ever show up for Thursday Night Throwdown. So why would you show up for my version of the Jerry Lewis Telethon? Prove me wrong in the signal chat or via email or text message, and we'll do it. But look, here's your second place prize right there. That is 1 troy pound of silver. $715 today. I'm going to send it to one of you, but I can't send it to you if you don't have a ticket. And if you do have a ticket, double your chance to at least win the second. What about the third prize? What about the fourth prize with the ammo gift card for Ammunition Depot? And what about the expansion of and the sanctifying of the temporal sphere that is live radio and television broadcasting? That is my mission. It's in our mission statement. So, it's in Steve's too. Be as generous as you can. Talk to your friends and family. Hey, I don't have $50. Can you ask a friend of yours to go buy a ticket? Tell them the great news that you should do it. They got a chance to win $48,000 in gold. You could do that. If nothing else, say memoraries for our success in this campaign. Winapoundofgold.com. So, for the remainder, look, I will be communicating with you via email. If you're not on any of our email lists, you really should be. If you go to my website, mikechurch.com/email, you can go sign up right now. It's free. Don't cost nothing. MikeChurch.com/email. Just think email. MikeChurch.com/email. Our Lady of the Visitation, pray for us. God bless and Mary keep you.
He's got the truth on his side. The liberals can run, but they'll never hide. He's a friend of Mr. Madison as he fights all leftisms. He supports our troops over there.